Reporters on Monday, President Trump had said the Strait of Hormuz was totally open.
The Pentagon is asking Congress for roughly $80 billion, mostly to cover the cost of the Iran war. President Trump pays a visit to Pennsylvania's Lehigh Valley today, making a stop at a Mack truck plant in the Allentown area, casting a spotlight on the U.S. economy and the crucial role of American manufacturing. And politically, Pennsylvania is an important swing state. In 2016 and 2024, it was Pennsylvania vote that helped Mr. Trump to win the White House. And on Wall Street, the Dow futures are down 248 points. NASDAQ futures 781 points lower. The S&P futures down 99. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Health insurance rates are surging in America, leaving millions without affordable options. If you're sick of having paychecks eaten up by healthcare costs or dealing with mega corporations, then listen to this. Christians don't need to waste money on a broken system. That's why I want to tell you about Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's an alternative to traditional health insurance at half the cost. With CHM, fellow believers contribute monthly to help pay each other's medical bills. There's no enrollment period, so you can join anytime. And you aren't restricted to provider networks, so you choose the doctors and hospitals you want. It's that simple. CHM is not insurance. It's a ministry that puts faith into action. Feel the difference of financial support and biblical care from fellow believers. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. That's chministries.org/wellness.
France is experiencing another day of scorching heat, with most of the population exposed to extreme temperatures. The government placing 54 departments under a red heat wave alert. The heat's expected to last at least through the end of the week, highs above 100 degrees Fahrenheit in many towns. The extreme weather being compared to a notorious heat wave in August of 2003, during which an estimated 15,000 people died. Some other parts of Europe, including Spain, Portugal, and England, are also feeling the heat. Security forces in the Turkish capital have carried out a major operation ahead of next month's NATO summit, detaining more than 200 people with suspected terrorist ties, including ISIS ties. President Trump is expected to attend the two-day summit that starts on the 7th of July. Officials plan to impose strict security measures, including banning demonstrations and restricting road access in various areas. News and analysis at townhall.com. A young child is at the heart of a health care controversy and the issue of parental rights in Texas.
The parents of a 2-year-old girl suing to stop brain death testing at Texas Children's Hospital. They want more time for their daughter to recover following a near-drowning incident. The hospital wants to conduct testing to determine next steps in the child's medical care. Now, most legal battles over life support start after a brain death diagnosis, but this case challenges the testing phase. The family also wants to transfer their daughter to another hospital. Jason Walker reporting.
An investigation is being organized after a Tesla using an automated driving feature slammed into a house in Texas at high speed, killing a 76-year-old woman who was standing inside. More on these stories at townhall.com.
For the first time ever, we're bringing you MyPillow mattresses and mattress toppers for as low as $99.98. Remember, sleep's all about temperature and pressure points. Whatever sleep needs you have, we have the right technology for you. Like our MyPillow mattress topper, our queen size has over 10,000 individual comfort supports to help relieve your pressure points. And how about our 3-inch Hybrid Plus mattress topper? It's infused with copper and silver to help your body get the restorative sleep it needs. And our MyPillow and Case Coil mattresses, I personally helped develop these mattresses to make sure they have everything needed to give us great sleep. Plus, they're made right here in the USA, and they ship right to your front door, absolutely free.
Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-854-0504 and use promo code Godzilla to get MyPillow mattresses and toppers for as low as $99.98 and free shipping.
Trouble getting to sleep and staying asleep is infuriating. Your mind races, you toss and turn. Nutrition company Healthy Cell created REM sleep to help you quickly fall asleep, stay asleep, and sleep deep. Unlike other supplements that don't work, REM sleep is not a pill. It's a gel you swallow with ultra-absorption of science-backed ingredients supporting all 4 stages of sleep. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order. Risk-free. Love it or your money back. Guaranteed. Healthycell.com. Code Godzilla.
Folks, this is Crom Carmichael, CEO of Soul Tea. I have recently turned 77 years old. I do not take prescription drugs. I have not had to take prescription drugs, and I attribute a lot of my good health to a product that I've been taking, which is the active ingredient in Soul Tea. It's a 22% concentration of theaflavin. We did clinical trials on it 25 years ago and found that it helped lower cholesterol. We have had many, many hundreds of letters and emails from customers telling us how it has helped them not only manage their cholesterol, but lower their triglycerides and help them on their blood pressure. And I can't tell you how much I attribute to Soul Tea for my good health at age 77. And I encourage you to go to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. And use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get 50% off on your initial shipment of Soul Tea. And I promise you it will be a great help for your heart health. Thanks so much.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your SatPhone. Call now.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
Good morning, and thank you for waking up with us on this Tuesday on the John Fredericks Media Network. I'm Mike Coleman, filling in for Dan again while he's on vacation. He should be back sometime next week. First, I'm going to get your day started off with the weather, and then Outside the Box with the Ox, and up next, John Fredericks. Well, the weather today is brought to you by Godzilla Wins Radio Show. For the best insight, analysis, and picks, watch and listen to Godzilla Wins Saturday mornings from 9 to 11 all across the John Fredericks Media Network. Plus, to get John's daily sports picks, go to GodzillaWins.com. Again, that's GodzillaWins.com. Starting in Richmond today, it's going to reach a high of 80 degrees. You may see some thunderstorms later on today, and tonight it's going to be clearing up with a low of 60. Currently, it is 69 degrees and partly cloudy. Moving along to Washington, D.C., there'll be periods of rain early this afternoon. Otherwise, it'll be mostly cloudy and a high of 73 degrees. Tonight, mainly clear skies and a low of 61. Currently, it is 71 and mostly cloudy. In Atlanta, it's going to be warm, reaching a high of 81 today with partly cloudy skies. Tonight, mostly cloudy and a low of 63. Currently, it is 73 degrees and cloudy. In Nashville, it'll be warm today as well, reaching a high of 81 degrees. Tonight, a low of 62, mainly clear skies. Currently, it is 64 degrees and mostly cloudy. In Philadelphia, it'll be humid today, reaching a high of 74 degrees. You can expect some rain as the day goes along. Tonight, it'll become clear, reaching a low of 61 degrees. Currently, it is 71 degrees and cloudy. In Pittsburgh, today will reach a high of 79, but it will feel like 84 degrees. And tonight, crystal clear skies and a low of 55. Currently, it is 61 degrees and cloudy. And finally, we are in Morgantown, West Virginia. Today will reach a high of 78 degrees. It'll be cloudy today with a little rain this morning. Otherwise, it'll be partly cloudy. And tonight, a low of 53 and clear skies. Currently, it is 62 degrees and cloudy outside. That's your weather update here on the John Fredericks Media Network. Up next, Outside the Box with the Ox.
Concessions workers at Target Field overwhelmingly authorized strike. CBS News headline, Minneapolis. 81% of United Here Local 17 union workers voted to strike unless they get
$1 million.
Or something. The story cites one employee griping how he can't pay his rent with the money he makes as a stand lead, whatever that means, and they want health benefits. Okay, remember the old days?
Ice cold beer, yeah? Hey, it is cold beer, hey, 1 liter beer man, here.
He got 34 cents for every $2 beer he sold, sometimes making nearly $200 working the old Metrodome on a good Twins game night, but he worked his ass off getting it. But wait, there's more. From Tom Brokaw's NBC Nightly News in 1987.
By day, Mr. McNeil is the operations manager of a pharmaceutical wholesale firm in Minneapolis, a responsible position he's held for 35 years.
What? He sold beer in the stands after working his real job? Who knew? And these pretzel vendors today want living wages for just doing that? But thinking outside the box, the difference since the days of Wally the Beer Man, besides generational entitlement and the permeation of Democrat politics in every circle of our existence, is those $2 beers are now 20, the hot dog is 15, the chips are 7. It would be understandably frustrating to sell hundreds of these things and not get any more money for doing it. Here outside the box with the Ox in the Eastern Time Zone and now in West Virginia on the John Fredericks Media Network.
John Fredericks.
It is the most egregious thing I've seen in a lifetime.
President Trump.
The whole thing is ridiculous.
When politics start getting wild.
They want to have every single thing that you don't want. Raise taxes, men and women's sports. They're going to open up their border.
Trump hits the speed dial.
Thank you for calling in on such short notice.
You came first, John.
Wake up with the John Fredericks Show weekday morning, 6 Eastern, 5 Central on JFMN.TV, the massive J-Fred radio network, and all across the social.
You came first, John. Thank you very much, and you do a great job.
Well, we're really getting a view, Tom, and welcome back to the program, where some of these far-left candidates stand on ICE and deportations. This is State Assemblywoman Claire Valdez, the Democratic candidate for New York, on how she feels about ICE today. Listen.
People are really worried about ICE. You know, we've had multiple raids in the district. People are being torn away from their communities and their families. We want to see this agency abolished.
This is what they're out there saying, Tom. To that you say what?
ICE has found 146,000 children, just shy of 147,000 children, just shy of that number, of children that were smuggled in this country in the Biden administration and lost. They rescued many of these children that were in sex trafficking and forced labor. ICE has seized enough fentanyl to kill every American 2 times over again. ICE is arresting sexual predators at a record number. We have the most secure border in history of this nation because of President Trump's leadership. This country is safer again because of President Trump's leadership. Look, what President Trump did in Memphis, what he did in Washington, D.C., can happen in Chicago, can happen in New York. If they just join us shoulder to shoulder and take on criminal illegal aliens, they simply don't want to do that. And she wants to talk about separating families. Why don't she go have a meeting with a couple hundred angel moms that I've met with in the last couple of years who've been separated from their child permanently because they buried them, because their child was murdered by someone that's not even supposed to be here. You want to talk about real family separation? There you go right there. Let's talk about 500,000 children that were separated from their parents and put in the hands of criminal cartels under the Biden administration and smuggling this country, and they lost track of 300,000 of them. Let's talk about that. They seem to forget the 4 years of travesty that put children and families at risk. But we are out there trying to save them.
Well, they don't seem to care a lick about that, Tom, because you have Claire Valdez there, and then there's Daria Liza Chevalier, who said this about deportations, quote, "I'm not okay with any deportation. I think all deportation is wrong because I think it's an incredibly cruel punishment that is really only relegated to people on the basis of where they were born. And, you know, I think that we should just not have a system that allows deportation to happen at all." She doesn't even want to deport criminals, people who've been not only just charged, but people who've been convicted of crimes in this country. And this is a far-left socialist movement that intends to sweep across the country.
Well, I don't think it'll be successful. I think the American people put President Trump in the Oval Office behind me because of his promise to secure the border and remove criminal aliens, which we're doing at record numbers. You look at 800,000 deportations, about 60 to 70% of being criminals. We've removed hundreds of thousands of criminals off the streets of this country because of President Trump's leadership. We're not going to stop. They can talk all they want. We're going to keep doing our job of removing public safety threats because that's what the majority of American people want. These politicians are nuts. They lost their minds. We're going to keep doing our job, John.
So I'm arguing that we are in uncharted waters in terms of midterm election. And what I mean by that is, you know, El Sayed out there campaigning with Hassan Piker, who blamed America for 9/11. Then you have the whole Mr. Nazi tattoo Graham Plattner. Then you have six-gender, God is non-binary Tellerico. Then you've got Bernie Sanders, you got Pocahontas, you got Mamdani, you got AOC, you got the Squad. And but for John Fetterman, not one Democrat will dare take on the radicalism that has never existed in this current form in that party. Now, does the president, has he spoken about what he plans to do in terms of heading into these uncharted midterm elections coming up in November?
It's very clear what President Trump stands for because he's delivered on it. Secure borders, deporting the worst of the worst, violent, illegal alien murderers and rapists from our country, cutting taxes, which he did nearly 1 year ago. We're coming up on the 1 year anniversary of his historic One Big Beautiful Bill, the largest tax cut for working families and middle class Americans in our nation's history. He'll be in Pennsylvania tomorrow meeting with American workers who have been helped by his no tax on overtime that he promised and he signed into law, and his effective tariff policies that have brought jobs back to the United States, like at the Mack Truck facility where he will be touring tomorrow in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. President Trump made promises to make America safer and more affordable. He is delivering on those promises, and just imagine what the Democrats would do if given the chance at power again. Just remember what they did to our country in 4 years of Joe Biden's tenure. They completely destroyed it with wide open borders. They want to raise your taxes. They want to raise inflation back to record highs. President Trump is recovering our economy from those detrimental days under President Biden. That's why Republicans need to retain control of this city so that President Trump can continue to have the support he needs to continue to govern for 2.5 years. Otherwise, Democrats are going to try to block and tackle. They'll be focused on ridiculous, ludicrous impeachment hearings and crazy stuff that don't serve the American public, just like they did in his first term when they were given the keys back to Capitol Hill. We can't let it happen.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
West Virginia Sports Nation gives you a top-of-the-mountain view of the Mountaineers sports landscape. See what's happening in all the sports, far beyond football, basketball, and baseball. Gymnastics, track and field, rowing, swimming and diving, golf, volleyball, tennis. More sports, more stories. If the Mountaineers play the game, WVSportsNation.com has it covered. Up-to-date and insightful articles written by Mountaineers for Mountaineers Nation. WVSportsNation.com. WVSportsNation.com. WVSportsNation.com.
1775 Coffee is giving away free starter kits. Try the dark or medium roast coffee with longevity blend, an infused blend with anti-aging supplements clinically proven to reduce biological age. When you purchase the first 2 bags, you'll receive a free 1775 starter kit, including a third 16-ounce bag of coffee, a matte black tumbler, a frother, a gold scoop, or a reusable K-cup filter. Just order now at 1775coffee.com/Godzilla and claim your free 1775 starter kit while supplies last.
This is Crom Carmichael, CEO of Solti. We got a wonderful email from one of our customers up east named Joe, and here's what he had to say. I started taking Solti almost out of desperation with little hope because I was resigned to the futility that although I was up to taking 2 statins a day, high cholesterol was something I just had to learn to live with. In fact, when I turned 60, after taking a stress cardio test, my doctor called me on a Saturday, which of course is never a good sign, and told me that I was clogged more than 95% of the people my age. I had an angioplasty and a stent procedure done at that time. Today, my stubborn triglycerides are only 1/3 of what they had been before starting taking Solti. My prescription statin dosage has shrunk from 60 milligrams to only 10 milligrams a day. My primary care doctor that I have had for many years still can't believe the results, and neither can I. Thank you, Solti, for providing such a wonderful product. And folks, I want to invite you to take care of your heart also by going to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. Use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% discount on your initial shipment. Thanks so much.
Important executive orders on quantum technologies that will strengthen America's place as the world leader in this very important emerging field. I want to thank Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, who's with us, Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick, Secretary of Energy Chris Wright, Director of the Office of Science and Technology Policy Michael Kratsios. Thank you, Michael. Director of OMB Russ Vogt, who's cutting the budget by probably 40 to 50% this year. We're going to end up with a balanced budget. And National Cyber Director Sean Cairncross. And I appreciate all of you being here. Thanks as well to Chief Technology Officer of the United States, Dr. Ethan Klein. Ethan, thank you very much. Director of the National Quantum Coordination Office, Dr. Brad Blakestad. And Chief Information Officer of the Federal Government, Greg Barbacia, for joining us today. Thank you very much, fellas.
Live from the studios of the John Fredericks Media Network, it's The John Fredericks Show. Grab yourself a cup of 1775 coffee, sit back, and get ready for the best 4 hours of talk in the universe. To be part of the show, just call our toll-free number, 888-480-5646. And now, here's the Godzilla of Truth, the Oracle of the Deplorables, the one man Chuck Norris refused to throw down with, John Fredericks.
Well, Tom Homan nailed it. Great to have you with us. Hope you heard those clips that we wanted to play a little bit earlier to kind of frame this show. And big hats off to Tom Homan, who is basically in charge of border security. Welcome to the John Fredericks Media Network. Great to have you with us. Michael Coleman at the controls in the captain's chair in Richmond. Well, we're going to be in Richmond. Mike, you probably don't know this, but Ann and I are going Thursday after the DC Dispatch. And we haven't decided if Friday's show will be at Colonial Downs or with you in the studio, one or the other. We'll have to figure that out over the next day or so. Always good to see you, Mike. Always good to be in the studio, so we'll see what happens. But opening weekend at Colonial Downs, Ann and I certainly going to be there and meet our new trainer that we'll be dealing with. And we got to get our owners' licenses and get all that stuff done. So we are going for the weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. And perhaps I'll do my show Friday from Colonial Downs. Just really depends on if I feel like lugging all this stuff down, Mike, because otherwise we'll just go with the camera in the office. So sometimes I just don't feel like doing it. So, I'm getting a little bit older, but it's good to have you with us. I'm in the White House pool tomorrow. That's going to be a lot of fun and lots going on. President Trump going to Pennsylvania today at Mack Trucks as he continues his economic tour. The economy continues to boom. The straits are opened. all the fake news out there. How many times, just call me up. Somebody call up. How many times have you seen or heard in the past 72 hours that the Iranians were closing the straits? How many times have you heard that? Like 100, 50, 75, right? From every news outlet imaginable that the Iranians are mad and they're closing the straits. First of all, they can't. You understand that game's over. I said this yesterday and I got a column coming out today. It's over. They have no ability to close the straits. They have no armaments. They have nothing. They have a couple of drones. They can't do it. The southern part is open and protected by U.S. naval operations. So they can't close crap. So the whole thing is a misnomer. Everything, it is amazing. We talked about this with Derek Van Orden yesterday. It is like basically the fake news now is like Tokyo Rose. I mean, it's incredible. It's like Tokyo Rose. All they do is take you the Iranian line, which is a lie, and put it out there like it has some meaning. I mean, I've never seen anything like this in my life. They want the fake news, the Democrats, they want us to lose this war. They want oil prices at $7 a gallon so they can win. They want you to suffer. And it doesn't care where it is. You look at this reflection pool, okay, which has become ground zero. And I got a clip on that coming up. It has become ground zero of Trump derangement syndrome. The president of the United States trying to clean up and beautify Washington, D.C. for the pleasure of its residents. And he is being trashed over it. They want scum, filth, and squalor. That is their comfort level. I've never seen, why do you want to live with a dirty pool? Why is that okay? Why is it bad for the president to say, I'm going to fix that? And now, a lot of people think there's vandals. He said yesterday that he thought, based on what he saw, that somebody with a knife went in there and cut the bottom so the paint would peel. And then another person went in there and threw fertilizer in to grow algae, which is, by the way, ecological terrorism. Boy, did I mangle that. Ecological terrorism. 20 years. Right? They got the guy's plate in the car. Somebody went there and dumped something in there, fertilizer to grow algae. So you got allegedly somebody cutting the bottom of the pool so the paint peels, and then somebody else putting in fertilizer so there's algae. This is where we live. I don't for the life of me understand the hatred. They hate this man so much, they would rather live in scum and filth than have anything here that he can get credit for. It is the most incredible set of circumstances you could live in. And he has beautified this city. And by the way, I'm his only mouthpiece here. Certainly is not the DC GOP. They never even mention it. I mean, he has turned this city into Disneyland and nobody wants to talk about it. And the Democrats are running to have it back to filth. That's their policy. Elect us, we'll make it filthy again. Make DC unsafe and filthy again is what they want. It's incredible, and nobody picks this up. Now, as far as Iran is concerned, the negotiations are moving along nicely. This is a diplomatic solution. Gas prices are going down. What's oil today? Check it out, $69, just like I predicted 2 days ago. Or on Friday. I said by Tuesday it'll be $69. $69 a barrel. Oil is flowing at the same levels it flowed before the war. So what's the problem now? Now why is gas high? Well, it's going to take time to catch up. See, the other thing that nobody's realizing is our production has increased domestically in the United States dramatically since this. So now you're going to have an oversupply of energy, which is going to bring gas prices down under what they were, which is going to affect affordability. Amy was telling me yesterday, there's Maersk won't flow through this. They got the fertilizer. Amy, stop. Okay, I don't know where you're reading this thing, New York Times. Okay, all of it is false. Okay, they can't close the straits. They can't do it now. They can't do it ever. They can't do it. So we're publishing their lies. Why are we doing that? Tokyo Rose. Go back and look at your history. Prices will be coming down. Eggs are down. I asked Ann last night, are prices down from where they were? Now, I don't shop, so I'm not going to feign that I do. I go to CVS and buy distilled water for my CPAP, shaving cream, razors, deodorant, and saline solution. That is the extent of my shopping. I'll be right back.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your SatPhone. Call now.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's the top news of the day.
People are out there saying, the Iranians are never going to live by it. But let me tell you something. President Trump is going to bomb them again if they screw around.
Hopefully they live up to it. And if not, the pounding's coming. We're going to do it again and again and again.
The Cats and Cosby Show, weekdays 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the stations of the John Fredericks Media Network.
Trump is the toughest president we ever had.
Well, he's definitely the best bomber.
The Trump administration has brought positive changes when it comes to fixing our broken healthcare system. If we really want to make America healthy again, well, that starts at home. And that's where the Wellness Company comes in. You see and hear from the Wellness Company doctors all the time, and you know their products are the gold standard for keeping you and your family safe and healthy, giving you the opportunity to make sure you're prepared for whatever happens with their prescription medical kits. Additionally, the Wellness Company offers a variety of products, from parasite cleanses to methylene blue to weight loss and so much more. Make America healthy again starts at home. Do your part and protect the health of you and your family. Live a healthier, longer, and more satisfying life. Go to twc.health/Godzilla and order. That's twc.health/Godzilla. Use promo code Godzilla to save 10% today.
1775 Coffee is giving away free starter kits. Try the dark or medium roast coffee with longevity blend, an infused blend with anti-aging calcium alpha-ketoglutarate, which has been clinically proven to reduce biological age. When you purchase the first 2 bags, you'll receive a free 1775 starter kit, including a third 16-ounce bag of coffee, a matte black tumbler, a frother, a gold scoop, or a reusable K-cup filter. Just order now at 1775coffee.com/Godzilla and claim your free 1775 starter kit while supplies last.
Folks, this is Crom Carmichael, CEO of Soul Tea. I have recently turned 77 years old. I do not take prescription drugs. I have not had to take prescription drugs, and I attribute a lot of my good health to a product that I've been taking, which is the active ingredient in Soul Tea. It's a 22% concentration of theaflavin. We did clinical trials on it 25 years ago and found that it helped lower cholesterol. We have had many, many hundreds of letters and emails from customers telling us how it has helped them not only manage their cholesterol, but lower their triglycerides and help them on their blood pressure. And I can't tell you how much I attribute to Soul Tea for my good health at age 77. And I encourage you to go go to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com, and use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% off on your initial shipment of Soul Tea. And I promise you, it will be a great help for your heart health. Thanks so much.
Don't touch that dial. You've found your home of the truth.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
With the best analysis in America.
You can't handle the truth.
And now back to the John Fredericks Show.
All right, you're back on the John Fredericks Media Network, and I'm your Godzilla of the Truth in America. Hey, it's great to have you with us. A couple of announcements to make before we go forward. You got Dave in Arizona, plus phone lines are open. Hey, remember, this is a community. This is the most important thing about this network. This is a community. It's your show. It's not mine. It's yours. This is where MAGA 2.0 comes together. This is the one place that you can come for truth and clarity. You can come to vent. You can come to give your opinion. You can come to ask questions, or you can come to comment. But this is our circle of MAGA 2.0 life. I don't do clickbait. I don't do nonsense. I'm not dependent on that. I don't have to screen out. I don't have to, cancel people on Facebook. I don't have to do any of that. I don't have to do it. We are a legitimate company with legacy sponsors that believe in the audience that we've built. And we know we're not for everybody. One of the most freeing things about the show, and Mike Coleman understands this better than anybody, without a doubt, the most freeing things about the show and our network is two things. We're not beholden to clickbait. That is the most freeing thing. Everybody else, man, they're locked in. They're boxed in. It's tough. They have to be so sensitive to whatever their audience says. So they have to feed the beast. Truth doesn't matter. Money does. Not their fault. It's the business environment that was created around them. Not even that they created it. So I didn't even blame them for it. It just happened. Second biggest thing that sets us apart is, and this is the most critical aspect, and Coleman knows this, we're not the biggest. We don't have to be. We just have to have a loyal audience. That's the main thing. We know we're not for everybody. We don't have to be. You try to please all the people all the time. What suffers? Truth and clarity. So we know we don't have to be the biggest. We know we don't have to be the best. And we know we don't have to be all things to all people. So that is freeing. That allows us to be who we are. Now, I've told you this before. The truth doesn't sell. There's no money in it. But I'm 68 and I don't need to make millions of dollars. I need to have enough money to retire and, go see my kids and see my son play baseball. That's it. And we're not greedy. That's the other thing. There's not a lot of greed here. When you're homeless for 2 years and you're living out of a car and you can't feed your child, you don't get greedy. It wipes that off your soul. You just want to have a good life. And so all of these things culminate into why the show is so different. Because we know we're not for everybody. We know that there's people out there on the right that just hate us. I get it. But we're okay with that. Because to not do that, what suffers is truth, clarity, and candor. And we're not going to do that because I don't have to. That's the beauty of this. Not beholden to anybody. No boss, no corporate suits, no Odyssey, regional vice president, no CEO somewhere other than Ann. She runs a company. But, obviously we're married. We have a unique relationship. Not like I'm going to get fired. So, it's all good. So a couple of other announcements, and then I'll get to the calls. Very sad. Yesterday, a colleague and a friend, Martha Zoller, passed. 67 years old, was on the radio in Northeast Georgia for years in Gainesville, WDUN. I met Martha many years ago when I still had the Beacon before that imploded. And I used to go on her show once in a while. And but she was a wonderful lady. She ran for Congress actually against Doug Collins in the ninth. We endorsed her for then because she was my friend back in the day, and she lost a very close runoff, and leaves behind her husband, who is a doctor, and children. But what a wonderful lady! And I always saw her. I saw her at CPAC, and I saw her at FAIR when they had the Immigration Radio Row, which they dropped, which was sad because that was one of the best. I never missed that. But I got to tell you a story about Martha. When I first got in the business, I had no money and I didn't know what I was doing. And it was 2012. And I'd started January. And in February, I went to CPAC. Couldn't stay at the hotel, obviously. Had to stay in Maryland and drive my little Saturn in. And then, park it where you had to park and walk and all that, and got a media credential. So I was really excited about that. But we had no table. We had no radio row table. We had no equipment, And so I would do my show from my hotel room in Maryland on the phone from my hotel. And so my producer at the time would, call the number and ask for my room. I'd answer it. And we do the 4 hours in the morning, sitting on my hotel bed on the phone, the phone in the room, which I don't even know that they still have those. But so that's how we did our first CPAC. And of course, I wasn't in it because I didn't have the equipment. So you do what you got to do. So I'd, go around after 10 and talk to people. And then I'd report that the next day over the phone. It was a pretty sad state of affairs back then. But I ran into Martha, who I knew, and I told her what I was doing. And I asked her if she'd help me because I didn't know what I was doing. And that was like a Friday. And she's like, all right, my plane is at 2:00 on Saturday. Well, how about we meet for coffee at 10 and, sit down for an hour or so. So she said an hour. We were there 2 hours, 10 to noon. She bought me lunch or breakfast or whatever and basically laid everything out that I had to do in order to survive, and taught me the business and spent 2 hours with me, just as sweet as can be. And I never forgot that because she had no reason to do that. She was, big radio host and I was a nobody from nowhere. But she spent the 2 hours with me and, kind of helping me and said that, you have to sell. You got to go sell ads. And of course I knew that. But she said that because at the time I was buying the time. And she said that's very difficult to do, but that's how Herman Cain started, buying the time. So you got to go out there and sell ads to buy the time, and then you pay them and you make the difference. And over time, somebody might pick you up, or you might get enough money where, you're now making a little bit of a profit if you want to do this. But she kind of taught me how to do it, how many ads I could do and, what kind of work. So she spent 2 hours with me, and I wrote everything down, and man, I thought I died and went to heaven. And this was 2012. So this was 15 years ago, in February at CPAC. And it was not at the Gaylord. It was like the Hilton or something, Washington Hilton back in the day. But and she's always stayed in touch. And I always had dinner with her when she came to one of the events, either CPAC or FAIR. And she had a little heart palpitation. She was perfectly healthy. She went in, she was fine. And she was going to take a week off. And then on Sunday night, she died. So R.I.P. Martha Zoller, wonderful, wonderful lady, great mom, great person, and one of the icons in our business, without a doubt. So R.I.P. Martha, we love you wherever you are, which is in heaven. She was an extraordinary woman. So I just wanted to give that tribute to her, and hope you keep her family in her prayers. And Martha she was pretty good. And she ran for Congress, didn't win that, and then left the radio for a while. She went to work for David Perdue, in the district as one of his, district U.S. Senate representatives. And then when he lost, she went back into radio again. And a couple of times I did my show with her as a simulcast, like we were on each show at the same time, which Dan Oxner and I've done several times. It's just kind of fun. But, she was with a station in Northeast Georgia and was on forever. She was an iconic figure in radio for a very, very long time. So bless it to her. Another announcement that I'm going to make, we're going to be shifting some things around. Looks like the Nashville thing is moving forward. So we'll have more on that later. Not a done deal as we expand in Tennessee. However, August 15th, we are moving Michael Patrick Leahy from 10 to noon to 3 to 5 and taking the 10 to noon spot live, 5 days a week, live, starting on August 15th. I'll announce it now. It's a done deal. Wendy Bell. Wendy Bell live on the John Fredericks Media Network, 10 to noon, Monday to Friday. And Wendy's a little bit different. She's not the same style as I do. I think it's going to be very interesting. But Wendy's got a great following, great lady, great audience. And she's right now, she was iconic in Pittsburgh. And now she's got podcasts and things of that nature. I think she's on one station. Well, I'm going to nationally syndicate her on August 15th. Wendy Bell live, baby. Fasten your seatbelts because she's going to be bringing the heat. If you know Wendy, you're not going to be sitting around twiddling your thumbs when she comes on. So you better fire up that 1775 coffee and you better buckle in because Wendy Bell is coming to town. Live on the John Fredericks Media Network, The Wendy Bell Show, 10 to noon, starting August 15th. So that's another announcement I'll make. Let's get to the phone lines. You're going to love Wendy. Now, she's like me. She's not for everybody. We have very different styles. Leahy and I are kind of the same. But you go from me to Wendy, you better lace them up. Enjoy the ride. And she gets a little animated. Let's get to line one. Dave in Arizona. Dave, you're up early. Welcome.
Good morning, sir. Great story of you and Martha. It shows how you exhibited two of the most important virtues in my mind. The first one is courage to continue to stand in the gap, and the second one is gratitude. That you recalled and shared your humble beginnings and how she helped you move along your path of discernment to figure out what you needed to do to be courageous and continue to stand in the gap in these unprecedented times, sir.
And she told me at that breakfast, because I had no money, right? I mean, if I had to pick up the check, I couldn't pay it, right? I mean, when you have no money, you have no money, okay? There's not like, well, I don't have $100,000 in the bank. I can't go on vacation. Like if I had to pick that check up, I couldn't pay it. I had no money and no credit. But she said one thing to me. She said, persevere and don't quit. Persevere. She said, get through the first 3 months, then get to the summer, then get to the election, get candidates on, ask them for your advertising. Don't quit, because she said you're going to want to quit when it's not there. She said you just got to keep going, take it a quarter at a time. And that was advice that stayed with me. And maybe not for that meeting, I would not have been in this position. So wonderful lady. But go ahead, Dave. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm in much the same boat, John. I accepted a part-time job 3 weeks ago. I haven't gotten a first paycheck yet. I'm blessed. I've been with my credit union since 1983. They let me do a line of credit, no questions asked, for $650. Right now in my checking account, I've got $540, so I'm upside down $110. But you know what? I get paid at the end of the month, and I have faith of a mustard seed, and I'm just going to continue moving along, right? You can only do what you can do with what you've been given.
That's right,
So,
Dave. That's right.
Hats
And
off
if
to you
you,
on that, sir.
sometimes you just gotta. I met another guy when I was really going through some bad times. This was before radio. The guy was dying, and he was the publicist for Napoleon Hill, right? So, and he was
wow.
yeah. So,
What a gem that is.
I had the Beacon, and he was a reader, and he kind of knew the thing was struggling. Everybody did in town. So he called me in, and he had a ventilator, like wheelchair and a ventilator. And I remember he was talking to me and told me about the Napoleon Hill story and told me I had talent and to go forward, and he knew things were desperate. And he said, what do you need to survive? And I said, $50,000. He said, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give you $15,000 because that'll probably get you through the next 2 payrolls, probably get you through the month. But that's all I'm going to give you. And you got to figure this out. And he said to me, listen, you got to walk through the fire of hell. This is where God put you. God's testing you. I'm going to give you $15,000 so you can take another 2 steps, but you got to walk through the fire of hell. And you keep walking and you're going to feel the burn, but you're going to get to the other side. When you get to the other side, you'll see a light. Just put 1 step in front of the other. I said, well, I need 50. He said, no, I'll give you 15. Put 1 foot in front of the other. Got the check. 10 days later, he died. These are the stories that you have in life. I should write a book one day. I'm not. But these are the stories you have that stay with you. He told me, God has put you in a position to test you. You have to walk through the fire of hell, and you will get burned. And I did. And here we are. So all of these little things come into play as you get older and you look back on certain things that happened, Dave. So you might be in the same situation now.
Amen to that. Yeah. And the fourth man is in the fire. Who's that? It's Jesus. He's with us every step of the way, right? And we were born
Absolutely.
for such a time as this, Esther 4:14, sir.
Absolutely.
100%. I agree with that.
Absolutely.
We are tested and forged by fire daily.
And what he said is God doesn't test everybody. He only tests those that A, he knows can take it, and B, there's a greater purpose. That was his
Well, I've shared with. Yeah, I agree. Sorry, I stepped on you there, John.
No, that's all right. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Anyway, Dave, what's on your mind?
Well, it's all inextricably linked, as I share with Admiral Bannon every day. What you're talking about with the lamestream propaganda media, it's the work of the devil. He's here. He stays here. He rules this world to steal, kill, and destroy. So when the lamestream media or lamestream propaganda media uses hypocrisy, lies, and projection to twist stories, but the most influential and impactful method with low information, low propensity voters or consumers of information is intentional information suppression. Your story with Mr. Homan, and I've met him multiple times here in Arizona. He was big on the campaign trail in 2022 and 2024. They talk about the 340,000 kids that were lost, in air quotes. They weren't lost; they were sold. We all know that, right? In the federal, state, and local governments performed the largest trafficking operation in the history of the world from 2021 to 2025, and we're still recovering from that. And I think we'll have lost decades, if not lost generations, from the impact of what was done. And unfortunately, the feckless grand old party was not only complicit in that, they were collaborationists because they funded the President Biden regime. I mean, think about that. The Republicans have held the House since January of 2023. And here we are now, 500 days into Trump 2.0. He's got 15 of his 94 U.S. attorneys appointed. They refuse to ever go on a recess. So that's why I'm demanding, and I planted the seed with Admiral Bannon, I planted it with you, I planted it with everybody I can talk to. President Trump needs to do Article 2, Section 3 to recess both houses of Congress. It's constitutional. And when he does that, he can start to reclaim the judiciary branch by getting all the U.S. attorneys and all of his sub-department heads in this administration, because we're a year and a half in, and unfortunately President Trump has been hand-tied, hog-tied, if you will, forced to do everything by EO because despite the fact that we control the legislative branch. We're getting no relief, and they're not doing the American citizens first agenda. And it's not pathetic. It borders on criminal, sir. So I hope that at some point that resonates with President Trump and he pulls the trigger. I know he doesn't want to because he's a systems guy. He wants to do it by the book, so there's no challenges, but it's fully constitutional. Article 2, Section 3.
Well, it's got to do something, Dave. I mean, the way you laid it out, right? We've had 500 days. We haven't gotten, we only a sixth of our U.S. attorneys have been named. I mean, they don't do anything. I'm telling you, Thune is riding it out. That's all they're doing. Cornyn tried to do it. He didn't make it. Cassidy tried to do it. He didn't make it. McConnell's got to retire. And Tillis tried to do it, but he would have gotten beat. So he retired. But these guys in there, like Thune, they're just riding him out. This too shall pass. They're trying to they want to hold the Senate. And they figure if they hold it in 2026, that's the end of him. He'll ride off in the sunset, and they'll go back to George Bush 1, George Bush 2, Barbara Bush, Jeb Bush, this Bush, that Bush. And they'll all be happy with Karl Rove. They want to go back there. They understand John Thune doesn't want Trump to succeed. Otherwise, he would do something. He mumbles about traditionalism and nonsense. They don't do anything because they are simply waiting for Trump to go. And so they feign support. These are make-believe MAGA. That's all it is. It's like make-believe MAGA, feigning support, lying to you every day about, we love President Trump, and they do nothing to help him or his agenda. They just want him to go away. And so they're riding it out. This is a stall game. The more they can stall, the more nothing gets done, the quicker it is that he leaves, and then they're back to whoever their favorite candidate is in order to, again, do nothing and manage the decline into perpetuity until the country collapses. They want no change. But now, but here's the problem, Dave. See, now they're fighting communists. See, before they were fighting liberals, and it was a managed decline. Now they're fighting a communist takeover. Does anybody out there not think this communist takeover is real? This thing is real. They've got votes. They have people now in this country, and they cheat, that want a communist government. Young people, middle-aged people, don't understand it, have no clue. They sat home during COVID. They got money. They ordered DoorDash. They sat on their ass. You got checks. Now they want to get back to that. I don't want to go to work. I don't want to go to the office. This guy's got all that money. This guy's got condos. That guy's got resorts. That guy's got hotels. That guy's got penthouses. I want some of that. I'll sit home and order DoorDash and play games. I want that. I want health care. I want everything for free. College free, everything for free. And I don't want to work because I didn't have to during COVID. Let's bring it back so I get more money to do nothing. This is what we're fighting. Lace them up, folks, and lace them tight. Smell the freaking coffee. Smell it. That's why you got to fight. MAGA 2.0 is about one thing, Dave. Fighters. You don't want to fight? You're not MAGA 2.0. That's all I'm interested in. You want to fight? You're in. We don't have to agree on everything, Dave. I'm not after a purity test. I'm after one thing: courage, conviction, and balls. That's it. You want to fight? You got a place here. You don't? Go away. Or get out of the way. We don't have to agree on 100% of the things. We don't need a purity test. We need fighters. John Fredericks Media Network. Great show coming up. Got Todd Sheets, got Jim Pfaff. Stay with us.
Senate has passed a bipartisan housing bill that aims to bring down home prices and increase supply.
On this vote, the yeas are 85 and the nays are 5. The motion to concur is agreed to.
The vote represents one of the most sweeping efforts in recent decades to reduce federal regulations for housing and expand local control. The legislation bans corporate investors from buying single-family homes. The House is expected to give the bill final approval later this week and send it to President Donald Trump, who has signaled his support. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
The heat is on in France and some other European countries in the grip of a punishing, potentially deadly heat wave. Looks like Wall Street's on track to open sharply lower this morning. Stock futures deep in the red, especially the tech sector, reacting to a slump in shares of SpaceX, which trades on the NASDAQ. And looking at the futures now, the Dow futures down 284, NASDAQ futures off 862 points. Townhall.com.
Did you really think Pure Talk was just going to sit back and watch America turn 250 years old without doing something awesome to celebrate? Of course not. That's why they're raising $250,000 for America's Warrior Partnership by the end of July. America's Warrior Partnership is on the front line of preventing veteran suicide. They've had extraordinary success, and here's how you can help. When you switch your cell phone service to Pure Talk this month, you'll be invited to round up to support America's Warrior Partnership. No pressure, but if you do, Pure Talk will match your donation dollar for dollar. And to further celebrate 250 years of our extraordinary democratic republic, Pure Talk is offering unlimited talk, text, and data for just $34.99 a month. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe. That's pound 250, say Mike Rowe. And happy birthday to us.
Britain's biggest police force is expanding its use of facial recognition cameras to some popular tourist districts in London. That has some privacy advocates concerned.
The police say the static facial recognition cameras help reduce crime and assist officers to target known criminals. In a 6-month trial in an area of South London, they said they made more than 170 arrests and saw a significant fall in violence against women and girls. The Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police, Sir Mark Rowley, called it one of the most revolutionary technological advances in recent years. In the pilot, the Met said only one false alert was generated, for which the person was spoken to by officers and then allowed to leave.
The BBC's Alice Adley. Andy Burnham preparing for a Labour leadership contest could make him the British Prime Minister within a matter of weeks. News and analysis at townhall.com. Investigation underway into this week's explosion in Qatar killed at least 13 people at a key gas export terminal.
The explosion was described Monday as related to an industrial accident. The blast at the Ras Laffan industrial area could cause further chaos in global energy markets. Qatar remains one of the world's top natural gas producers. Qatar shut down its production after Iran's grip on the Strait of Hormuz meant it couldn't get shipments out to its clients. With Iran loosening its grip as negotiations continue over a permanent end to the war, Qatar began work to try to restart its export terminal. Keith Peters, Washington.
Maryland Democrats choosing their U.S. House nominees today in contentious primaries, and that includes a crowded race to replace retiring Congressman Steny Hoyer. Also, there's a Republican fight over who is best suited to unseat Democratic Governor Wes Moore in the fall. More on these stories, townhall.com.
It's finally here, our second annual mega sale. This sale only comes around once a year, so take advantage of the best offers ever while you can. For example, save 50% on our Giza Dream bed sheets, as low as $29.98. And for the first time ever on TV, MyPillow mattresses and MyPillow mattress toppers, as low as $99.98. And you save 50% on our Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets. Regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And our best-selling standard MyPillows, regular $49.98, on sale for $17.98. Wait on it, mega sale only $14.98. But wait, there's more. To make the mega sale even more special, when you order right now, your order's going to ship absolutely free.
To take advantage of the second annual mega sale, go to mypillow.com or call 800-854-0504 and use promo code Godzilla.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
1775 Coffee is giving away free starter kits. Try the dark or medium roast coffee with longevity blend, an infused blend with anti-aging supplements clinically proven to reduce biological age. When you purchase the first 2 bags, you'll receive a free 1775 starter kit, including a third 16-ounce bag of coffee, a matte black tumbler, a frother, a gold scoop, or a reusable K-cup filter. Just order now at 1775coffee.com/Godzilla and claim your free 1775 starter kit while supplies last.
Ponder this. How many times have you heard that freedom means doing whatever you want as long as we don't hurt anyone else? On its face, this sounds pretty reasonable. But when you think about it, everything you do has an impact on someone or something. Let's say we overindulge in drinking. The immediate impact may be that we cannot get to work on time the next morning or even at all. Let's say we eat whatever we want, whenever we want. When health problems ensue later in life, your family, your friends, and your community may be impacted. For every action, there is a reaction, and this is Newton's law of physics. But it applies to our spiritual life as well. Being truly free means doing God's will in every decision that we make. This means we must know God's will by following His commandments and talking with Him in our daily life. Pray, trust, and persevere in following God's will for you every day. I'm Susie Kelly, and I am passionately Catholic.
Live from the studios of the John Fredericks Media Network, it's The John Fredericks Show. Grab yourself a cup of 1775 coffee, sit back, and get ready for the best 4 hours of talk in the universe. To be part of the show, just call our toll-free number, 888-480-5646. And now, here's the Godzilla of Truth, the Oracle of the Deplorables, the man who loves the smell of napalm in the morning, John Fredericks.
Hey, you got him. Great to be here with you. I am your Godzilla of the Truth in America, your Oracle of the Deplorables. Thanks for joining us today, as always. Hey, I got to give a shout out to Healthy Cell REM Sleep right here. This thing is, I take this every night. You know, last night I went to bed after I had on the College World Series after Oklahoma was up 8-1. I went to bed about 8:45. Took my REM sleep like I do every night. You know, I get up at 3:45, so I don't know how many hours that is. 7 maybe? 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 7, something around that, which is good. But without my REM sleep, forget about it. I had so many dreams last night. Like I get up a few times to go to the men's room, go to the bathroom, if you will. But I take my REM sleep. You get the greatest night's sleep. Like I have probably 5 dreams. That's one after the other. And I don't remember them. I have no idea what they are. But when you're dreaming, that means that you are in REM sleep, which is the deepest sleep that you can be in. That's where you want to be. That's when the body really rejuvenates, right? Because you're in that second or the third level, it's okay. But when you're in that fourth level of sleep and you're dreaming, that's where you want to be. And that's what REM sleep is going to do for you with Healthy Cell. It is going to ensure that you get to that fourth level every night, which is going to give you an extraordinary opportunity to get the REM sleep, REMs, that you need, which means you're going to have a lot of dreams. And once you get there, like, sleep cannot be underestimated, especially as you get a little long in the tooth, you get older, right? It rejuvenates your body, and you jump up. I take my REM sleep 8:30 every night, no matter where I am. Now, obviously, I'm not at an event. You can't do that. But when I can get to bed at 9, I take my REM sleep 8:30 every single night, go right out, fall asleep immediately, get in that deep sleep. And then when you wake up, you jump out of bed because you're rejuvenated. Because sleep is so critical to your bodily functions and to the replenishing of everything in your body, especially as you get older. So I don't know what you guys are doing out there, or gals, but take a couple of minutes, take my word for this. Go to healthycell.com, healthycell.com, and get your REM sleep. Put in promo code Godzilla. Promo code Godzilla. You're going to get 20% off your first order. So order a couple boxes, see if you like it. You get 20% off. Now, while you're there, you should get the Bio Multivitamin. I take that every day. Take it when I get up. Your body doesn't get the vitamins it needs, no matter how good you try to eat. And it's in a gel pack. You go to GNC, you get one of those multivitamins, 85% of that you pee right out. Casing is bad for your stomach. It's all bad. You get Healthy Cell, you get your multivitamin. But if you only want to do one thing, the best thing that you can do is get REM sleep. And it doesn't take 2 weeks. It doesn't take 2 days. It doesn't take 2 hours. It takes 15 minutes. And it's all natural. So everything in here is vitamin based. You're going to love this. It's going to change your life and your attitude. Just go to healthycell.com, healthycell.com, promo code Godzilla. And I take 3 Healthy Cells a day. I take REM sleep at night. And when I get up, get out of the shower, I take my Healthy Cell multivitamin, and I take the Focus. Now, I did take joint and mobility, but now I don't need it. I took it for 2 years, and now everything is fine. I don't have any more back pain. It just went away. Now, once in a blue moon, I have to take a leave. Once in a blue moon. But I was taking leave every day. And then they turned me on to joint and mobility. And after about a 2-year period, all that aches went away. I do my 75 push-ups a day. When I get up, I'm good to go. So check this out. I try to keep you healthy. Healthycell.com, promo code Godzilla, 20% off your first order. Best thing that you can do. Not a lot of money to be healthy. Not a lot of money to feel better. It just isn't in the scope of things in life. Joining me now, my good friend Todd Sheets. Todd, good to have you with us.
Great to be with you again.
Hey, thanks for being such a supporter of my campaign. We clobbered our write-in opponent, got 95% of the vote. Now I'm the official Ward 2 chairman and the only legitimate spokesperson for President Trump in D.C. in the Republican Party in the city. And thank you, Todd, for being such a great, inspirational supporter. Thank you.
Well, I was glad to be a tiny part of it. More glad to see you taking on the charge. And now, apparently with a socialist coming in as mayor, the project only gets bigger and more important, right?
Exactly. It's going to be something else, man. She's a piece of work. She wants to stop Trump, free DC. She has run to the left of Mandami, to the left. And the new council that came in is all communist. So this is going to be a ride. I'm just going to make this prediction. When we keep the House, which I'm convinced we're going to do, when we keep the House and the Senate and they get ushered in, 90 days, they will get rid of home rule. And the feds are going to take over this city. Trump is not going to let everything he did here evaporate in 3 months because the communists come in. He's just going to take it over, and he's going to have the votes in the House and the Senate to do that. So that's going to be the outcome of this. And they're going to be screaming about, the voters spoke. No, okay. This is a federal. They're running this city with permission from the federal government. They gave them permission. They can take it away. That's what's going to happen. But Tom, we got bigger and better things to talk about today because that's in the future. I want to talk about Iran, the negotiation, the straits are open, and the fake news, which is basically a combination now of Tokyo Rose and Baghdad Bob. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I've got a few thoughts, and some might be a little bit counter to what you just said, but I'm going to put them out there anyway. First, let's start with the most important risk that we face as Americans is not abroad anymore. It's domestic. It's what we were just talking about. It is the rise of the far socialist left and their, agenda, which is now out of the closet. They used to hide it. I think during the Obama years, it was largely hidden, even though this was clearly the direction they were putting it. They then figured out they could run Joe Biden as what some people might call kind of a sock puppet, where effectively Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders and AOC are running the country, but they have what appears to be, a more moderate, old school Democrat, believe in America Democrat at the front, but really they were pushing this agenda hard behind the scenes, almost a Wizard of Oz kind of scenario. Now all of that's over. This stuff is just like, I'm proud to be a communist. I'm proud to be a democratic socialist. And if you're a democratic socialist, like you were just saying, it's almost like the train is leaving you behind because the communists are taking over the steering room. So
bingo.
So the first point here is this is the biggest risk that we face in America. It is not foreign. It is domestic. And to the extent that this attempt to get a peace settlement in Iran helps promote our ability to fight back against the democratic socialists and the communists in the Democratic Party, I'm a big fan of it. And I think it definitely will help in some respects. I mean, we've already seen it. Oil prices back down below $75. Gas prices coming down. This will bring inflation back down, which will bring interest rates down a little bit further. And this will be another stimulus to what we've talked about as economy that is already. So to me, those are the good things about it. You get to the memorandum of understanding. I'm not a big fan of the memorandum of understanding. So the good news with the memorandum is I wrote a piece in Substack this week that was called "The Fat Lady is Still Warming Up," from the old saying, the opera ain't over till the fat lady sings, right? And so this Iranian opera is not over. The fat lady's warming up right now, but she's not out on the stage singing. And so there are still a lot of things that can happen. One good thing that can happen here is that the administration will take a hard line with respect to the release of funds to the IRGC. It will make them perform. And so, this won't have quite the disastrous consequences or for the Middle East that it could. Another possibility here is events can push this in a completely different direction. We've already seen that come up over the weekend here. The fighting between Israel and Hezbollah could push this back away from things. And then the third possibility is who knows exactly what Trump is up to here. I would not put it beyond Trump to be basically setting up a scenario where we get the strait reopened. We go into negotiations. As the negotiations progress and this extends, we know this is going to take time, that they get tougher and tougher in terms of what they're willing to do. We get beyond the midterms. And at that point in time, they either say, boom, you're towing the line on everything, or we're back at war. And with the willingness to step forward and do it at that point. So there's a lot of directions that this thing can go. I think it's far too early to, either call it a resounding victory or claim that, it's a defeat and that Iran's in control of the agenda here. And in the first place, what it does for the economy and fighting back against the socialists in America, it's definitely a positive.
The straits are open. The oil is flowing. Prices are down. I believe barrels of oil are going to go under $70 within the next day or two. So we've increased our domestic production. Prices will come down. You nailed it. And so that to me is the key. We also now understand that they're empty threats about they're going to close the Straits of Hormuz again if they don't like somebody, if somebody, blows a sideways fart or something and they don't like it, they're going to close the straits. That's all nonsense. They have no ability to do that, Todd, because we control one southern entry through the straits, which is now completely controlled and secured by the United States Navy. So no matter what they do, that is there. So this is a bunch of empty saber rattling. They got to save face. Trump lets them save face. He always does that. He understands negotiation. So I don't really care what they say, and you've got basically the fake news and the Democrats and the communists. They want $7 a gallon of gas. So they want the straits to get closed and they want everything to fail and they want bombs to drop, right? That's what they want. And so they're lying to you every day about what's going on. The straits are not going to get closed. They're open. The oil is flowing. Right now, Energy Secretary Wright said that by Thursday, what's that? 2 days from now, that there'll be more oil flowing through the strait by Thursday than there was before the war. So my question becomes, what's the problem?
Well, all of this is good, right? One issue that we have to stay on top of is that one of the reasons this oil flow is going to increase like this is that Iran is back to selling oil non-sanctioned, getting compensated in American dollars. So some of that is coming from them. That's part of what's increasing this and driving the prices down. That is good as long as we can contain the historical tendency of the IRGC to take all of this money and, as it not going to be in the next 6 months or the next 12 months maybe, but then turn back towards the creation of nuclear weapons, the building of a missile structure, and ability to try and charge tolls and that kind of thing on the strait. That's the balancing act that we've got in here, and we've got to trust Trump to do it. I don't think that Trump is going to let this thing unwind in a way that basically puts us at the end of his administration where we were at the end of the Obama administration, where they caved. They said they gave him a deal. They gave him access to all of this money in exchange for nuclear promises with very weak ability to go in and monitor what's happening. Where like, yes, you can come in and monitor. We're going to allow you to visit the sites we want you to see for the period of time we're willing to let you have here. That doesn't work. So the key thing is that we continue to control the ability of the IRGC to direct these funds into the kind of military and nuclear buildup that could put us back in this situation in the future.
So basically, we're saying the same thing. Straits are open. They're going to be open through the midterms. Oil prices are going to plummet. Gas is going to plummet. Affordability is going to come real. Prices are going to come down. And both of us believe that if they don't do what they said they're going to do, when I was at the press conference with Vance, he said it's very simple. As it's a dial. As they dial down their belligerent behavior, we dial up their ability to get funds and to get investment from the Middle East and others. If they dial the other way, we're cutting it off, and we have no problem emptying the payloads again. So I think Trump here holds the cards. And what got picked up in the New York Times and everything over the weekend is, so the IRGC made some threat. Well, we don't like what's going on in Lebanon. Well, we're closing the strait today. Well, they can't do that. They have no ability to do it. This is what the fake news is not telling you. They can't do it the way they did. We're already there. We've already got 1/3 of it open and secured. They can't do a damn thing about it. So this is empty threats, empty rhetoric, fake news, Tokyo Rose.
Yeah, look, the other thing I think we've got to keep in mind here, in addition to controlling that dial and being tough with it, is we also, and it's not just us, but the rest of the world, we need to prepare ourselves better for a future occurrence, for future issues in the strait. Because this is going to happen again at some point in time. There's going to be saber rattling. We have the solution to blockade was the solution and is the solution going forward. What we've got to make sure is that Europe, especially, move further and further away from dependence on Middle Eastern oil that comes out of the Strait. We know some of the other Gulf countries are already moving in this direction so they can get it out. They're building pipelines and, diminishing their exposure to the Strait. But Europe and Asia have to do it. And we need to stay with this Trump agenda of drill, baby, drill. We cannot go backwards on that, because if this happens again in the future, the key is for us to put that blockade on and leave it there long enough to where we really cripple these people. And I don't mean, in a physical sense,
Right.
although that might have to happen, but in an economic kind of sense.
Well, we could do that. We could do that within a week's notice, right? We've already done it. We choked them off. And the people who are saying, well, this is a bad deal because they can sell their oil. Well, before the war, they sold their oil for 100 years. So, that to me is a ridiculous argument. It's their oil. They have a right to sell it. If you want to choke them off and have regime change, then you got to deal with the fact that, you're going to have high gas prices and nobody is willing to do that. So it is what it is, right? So they can sell all the damn oil they want, as far as I'm concerned. We got to bring these gas prices down. But Todd, the reason I'm so bullish here is because the underpinnings of this economy is incredible. The foundation, I've never seen anything like this. Jobs number, investment is up, small business is up, wages are up, consumer confidence is up, buying is up, savings is up. People are making more money. The tax refunds they got set records. Small business, more SBA loans than ever. We have a record number of small businesses opening. You don't open a small business if you don't have confidence in the future going forward, Todd. All this stuff has been hampered by gas prices and high food prices. Well, what happens when that comes down?
Yeah, look, it's been 30 years. We're on the verge of a kind of economic growth that we haven't seen in roughly 25 to 30 years, since the late 90s. That was an extension of what happened that Reagan kicked off in the early 80s. And it ran basically for a 20-year period of time. And I think we are sitting on the cusp of that kind of economic growth taking off. As we've talked about before, number one is GDP growth. The people don't feel that. You see it in the investment markets. The second thing is job growth. We're now coming off of 3 straight months of around 180,000 jobs. We get up to 200,000 plus. People are going to start feeling again like this economy is working for them for the first time in decades. And there are people that never even felt this. You've got to be a certain age to have even, participated in a really healthy, thriving kind of economy. We are on the verge of that. And then the third thing after the jobs come is then it's the wages. And the wages will start moving up. We're already down around 4.3% unemployment, very low. So future job growth is going to lead to wage growth. It has to. You've got to pull people out. That's how the markets work and that kind of thing. So, look, I agree. All of this stuff is fantastic. It's very positive. I think it's been pent up. It's been sitting there waiting to happen. It even started to happen in spite of the government shutdown in the fall and the war in the spring and the Supreme Court decision on the tariffs. You talk about throwing, 3 curveballs, all of which come over the corner of the plate. They did. And yet we've still managed to get one of those balls out of the infield. And now we're ready to start hitting some home runs here. So this is a good situation. I agree with you.
Well, I think the economy, I think you're going to see the greatest economic renaissance you've seen. The other thing, and you nailed it. There were 3 Molotov cocktails thrown in the mix, right?
Yeah.
Causing fires, and it was still resilient enough to get past those. Now those are gone, and I'm not sure what is ever going to happen with the tariffs, but that's a whole nother episode we have to have, much to my chagrin. But the other stuff we've been able to overcome that. What we haven't talked about is a new Fed chair, Warsh.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. I think Warsh is going to take the Fed back in the right direction. He's going to pull back the scale. This Fed has become so enormous, so bloated. It's tried to lead the economy. It's really taken on the role of trying to be the master sitting at the control panel and dialing in all of these things in the economy. And one of the most frustrating and educational things that's happened, Alan Greenspan just died. Alan Greenspan was a dyed-in-the-wool, free market, libertarian type of person, trained under the wing of Ayn Rand, and Reagan appointed him. And unfortunately, and this shows the power of the institution and the difficulty of resisting the political power of using these levers, Greenspan is one of the people that led us into this age of a vastly expanded Federal Reserve, monkeying around and trying to adjust for this thing and that thing. And I think, that's gone on far too long. Bernanke extended it even further. That's why we have a $7 trillion balance sheet at the Fed. And I think Warsh is here. He wants to dial back all of the discussion. That's one of the things. And that seems like nothing, but it's very, very symbolically important, because that's a sign that he's going to try and move this back to where the Fed is reading the economy and following the economy instead of trying to lead and guide the economy. And those people, the people who are frustrated with what they call the over-financialization of America, where it seems like it's working for the fat cats with the stock portfolios and that kind of thing. Your real frustration is not with capitalism. It's with a Federal Reserve who has continually tried to dial interest rates in to keep the stock market high in order to offset some of the things that were happening in the economy. And we are far better off when we just let the economy adjust and the private markets figure out how to deal with whatever's going on than we are when we get a politician or a politically oriented person at the head of the Fed trying to dial in some perfect economic scenario. It's one reason why I am a big fan of the idea. Nobody else is talking about this. I don't know that we'll see this in my lifetime, but we get the Fed out of interest rate setting. We don't need one person or who leads a panel of 12 people deciding what interest rates should be for the rest of the economy. That's them intervening in the markets and saying, we know better than what the markets are telling us. The best thing to do is let interest rates get set by the economy, the same way prices are for advertising on your show, gas at the pump, a cup of coffee at Starbucks, all those kinds of things. All that comes from market forces. The last 200 years tell us that's a far better way to set prices than to have some government-directed panel. So that's where I'd like to see this go. But in any event, Warsh is a big step in the right direction.
Todd, we got Jim Pfaff coming up. Do you have to go or can you hang?
I'll be happy to hang for a little bit.
We love when you hang with us, Todd. Todd and Jim Pfaff. It's going to be a great segment. We got Jim Pfaff coming up, chairman of the Conservative Caucus. We got Todd Sheets, the economic guru of all time, wrote the best book ever written on the 2008 crash. We're going to be right back. You're on the John Fredericks Media Network with your calls. Jim Pfaff, Todd Sheets, John Fredericks, and a phone number, 888-480-JOHN.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's HealthyCell.com. Code Godzilla for 20% off.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are a $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your SatPhone. Call now.
Ponder this. I've recently noticed that the way a person drives may have a direct correlation to their personality. I'm pretty confident that most of you have witnessed this as well. We see courteous drivers. These are people who allow others to change lanes when safety permits. Courteous drivers usually use their turn signals to gesture to others their intentions. They stop at red lights and pay attention when waiting for a red light to go green. There are other drivers who are not so courteous, even aggressive, and get defensive when others try to change lanes. These drivers tend to get angry at others to the point of road rage. What does your driving signal to others? Do you show love and kindness to fellow drivers as the Lord would want you to do? Or do you lose control and take your anger out on others? We are called to be charitable to others even when they don't extend charity to us. I'm Susie Kelly, and I am passionately Catholic.
For the first time ever, we're bringing you MyPillow mattresses and mattress toppers for as low as $99.98. Remember, sleep's all about temperature and pressure points. Whatever sleep needs you have, we have the right technology for you. Like our MyPillow mattress topper, our queen size has over 10,000 individual comfort supports to help relieve your pressure points. And how about our 3-inch Hybrid Plus mattress topper? It's infused with copper and silver to help your body get the restorative sleep it needs. And our MyPillow and Case Coil mattresses, I personally helped develop these mattresses to make sure they have everything needed to give us great sleep. Plus, they're made right here in the USA, and they ship right to your front door, absolutely free.
Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-854-0504 and use promo code Godzilla to get MyPillow mattresses and toppers for as low as $99.98 and free shipping.
When you're learning something new, experience matters. At Lifestyles Unlimited, we've spent over 30 years teaching people how real estate investing works and how to build income with a clear, step-by-step strategy. Our program is designed to help you learn what to do, why it works, and how to take action at your own pace. Join today for just $297, a 60% savings off the regular price. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Tom, last time we had you on the program, you were considering surging ICE into New York because of Kathy Hochul's policies. Where do you stand on that today?
It's coming.
Care to expand?
Yeah. I can't,
put a little meat on that bone there, Tom.
we're not going to forecast when we're going to be there, but I made a promise and we're going to be there. It's not, and she likes to call it a threat. It's not a threat. When we lose the cooperation of the jails, when we lose cooperation of the sheriffs, and we can't now rent a bed from a local sheriff to detain an illegal alien for his proceedings, that means instead of one officer arresting one bad guy in the jail, now we got to go to the street and find them if they release them, which means I got to send a whole team out. Because of what she signed, that legislation, we have to increase resources because it's going to take a hell of a lot more resources to arrest these criminals because we lost the efficiencies of the jail. It's not a threat. It's just a realistic response to losing the efficiencies of law enforcement working with us and the jails working with us. We have to increase resources because now we got more people in the public to find. And here's the downside. for her, not for me. But when we find that bad guy, many times he's with others that may not be a criminal threat. They're in the country illegally. Well, guess what? Collateral arrest will increase. And every illegal alien we arrest in that state will be put on an airplane and sent to another state to be detained because we lost the cooperation of local jails.
All right. Well, I'm sure that we're going to hear a whole lot more about this in the days ahead. Appreciate it, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Don't touch that dial. You've found your home of the truth.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
With the best analysis in America.
You can't handle the truth.
And now back to the John Fredericks Show.
No, you got him. I'm your Godzilla of the Truth in America. Truth and clarity right here. R.I.P. My colleague Martha Zoller passed on Sunday night, 67 years old, young, great lady, had some heart issues, and great colleague of mine, great friend, R.I.P. Martha Zoller, to her family. Did a tribute to her earlier today, and very nice, very nice. Okay, let's get to my panel. Joining us now, the one and only Jim Pfaff is with us. He's the chairman of the Conservative Caucus, based here in Washington, D.C. with me. Also, we got Todd Sheets with us, back by popular demand. Decided he's going to hang with us for another segment and see what Pfaff has to say. Jim, thanks for being with us. Todd, thanks for being with us. Jim, great to see you and your lovely wife, Myra, a week ago Tuesday at our big victory party at City Tavern. It was fun. It was great. And it was great to have you there, Jim.
What an historic place, too. I mean, that was, I didn't know that much about the history of that location, a little bit, but I didn't realize how deep and it is and how important it is to the Georgetown area. But yeah, we had a great time and got a little food as well and enjoyed the company. Thanks for having us.
How was the food?
I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I think you had a nice little stash there, a little bit of dessert, a whole bunch of snacking stuff. So enjoyed ourselves.
That was good. Well, thank you. It was good to see Myra and good to see you there, Jim. And thank you for coming. Thank you for your help. Now that we won big, on to bigger and better things like fixing the reflecting pool.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, something we thought that was done, and others decided they didn't want it to be done. And don't fool yourselves, it's vandalism. I mean, it's just absolutely, it's a good analogy of the challenges that we do have politically as we look forward to the November elections, as we watch what's unfolding in the Iran situation and the fallout politically for that. And as, everything that we see happening has this component to it. There is an effort to try to straighten out what had been made crooked, trying to put back together the pieces of what this country was founded upon, what makes us great, what works. And in the midst of doing that, there is a consistent vandalism in the political sphere that takes that down. I mean, listen, you can like or not like Donald Trump, and a whole lot of the John Thune types are like, oh my gosh, I don't like how he handles things, the way he talks to people, and all this stuff that they don't like, except that even with all that, you've got a good foundation, a rebuilding of an American ideal and American functioning. Even at our worst times in the past, we did better than what we've been recently doing with Barack Obama and George W. Bush, frankly, in some ways, and Joe Biden. And now Donald Trump's reestablishing it, and vandals come in just to scream and yell at him while the successes do happen. So that's the analogy of what we're going through politically, quite perfectly.
It's just crazy. But look, I want to get to the midterms, guys, because I am so bullish. I am so convinced with the maps, with the redistricting, with the fact that we've now gotten a little bit better at mail-in ballots. Republicans not great. We had a long way to go, but we definitely got the early voting thing nailed. I've been fighting that forever. With this economy booming, gas prices sinking, I don't see the math where the Democrats win this. I know the trends. I know all that. They're nominating communists all over the place. They're going to nominate 3 of them in New York City today in the primary, Madami's people are going to win big. They're all communists. I just don't see it. I think that the American people are going to look at a booming economy, no war, everything is up, stock markets are up, your 401ks are up, gas prices are down, things are more affordable. Why on earth are you going to vote for people like Graham Plattner? Guys, I just don't see it. I think we're going to win the midterms. I think we're going to gain a seat in the Senate. I think we're actually going to gain a seat in the Senate. But I know that I'm the most optimistic one out there in media based on what I've seen. You guys weigh in. Let's start with Todd Sheets. What happens in the fall, Todd?
Yeah, look, I'm pretty much in your camp. I mean, to me, it comes back. There's a lot more to it, obviously, than just economics. I think there's two big factors here. We touched on both of them earlier in the show. One is we are up against a regime change situation. You know, we have a Democratic Party that is no longer just trying to move the country in a slightly different direction. They are trying to overthrow the Western values that first lifted mankind up from the ash heap of history, created the middle class, led to all of the things that have given us so much more than any other country has today or history has ever had for more people from more varying backgrounds. They want to overthrow all of that, and they want to put in a socialist system that overthrows, that goes beyond the economic sphere and overthrows ideas like meritocracy and equal opportunity for all, and just create a completely different system. That's a huge motivating factor. I think that's something we've got to keep delivering that message. The second factor is the one that you picked up on here, you just mentioned, and that is the economy. And this economy is ready to go. And if we can keep the inflation from running wild, which these oil prices coming back down, that's what drove this temporary blip in inflation. That comes back down. So that impediment is out of the way. The uncertainty of the war, the tariff uncertainty is largely behind us at this point in time. This economy wants to go. You put all of that together, we have a motivated base to get out there, and we have a strong economy, and people feel like it is finally working for them again. I'll pick up on Jim's comment. It's been over 25 years since average Americans felt like this economy was working for them. If they start to feel that, then we are back at the beginning of the Reagan Revolution with something that can run 20 years, and the American people get that.
Jim?
Yeah, I think Todd is nailing a whole lot of it quite perfectly, because when you look at what's been discussed in the news, you do not hear enough of what I know Todd knows so well are actually some of the strongest economic numbers we've seen in a long time. There is so much, and when we talk about inflation, and I know Todd knows this, but actually what we've gone through is not inflation at its core. Of course, you can't explain that to people because it's a technical thing. When you see the gas prices go up, when you see prices go up in some key area of the economy that affects other things, that's not exactly inflation. And the reason I'm making this distinction is because I think Democrats, actually not being good economists at all, think that this is inflation and think that it's something set in. But as this Iran thing gets cleaned up, and oil prices aren't going back to $55 a gallon, so we're not going all the way back to where we were very quickly. But we are already headed in that direction, and people are going to feel that. And this is not going to show up easily in much of the polling that takes place, because everyone's taken the political calculation in how they're approaching their polling, rather than trying to get at the core of what people are thinking, which is also hard to bring out as they're starting to feel better. It takes a little time for that to show up in polls as well. So the American people right now, my sense of it is that they're already feeling a lot better. You see that in some of and feeling that the Democrats want to make them feel worse. You see that in some of the polling that it keeps showing Democrats are highly disliked in this country. My earlier concern earlier this year about Republicans being feckless and not doing anything, which hasn't changed, is now starting to be a bit overcome, it seems to me, by this change in the Iran war situation. So it takes a little bit to settle in. People aren't thinking about November yet. They're working every day, trying to get things done. But when they can sit down every night with their families or with people that are important to them and know that they can go do something they can go to the store and not feel so, tense about what they've got to go buy, that starts to show up in the polling. By the way, the Senate, you're right, there's likely to be a seat gained. I mean, it may not happen, but I think that's a thing. But the dynamic in the Senate is much different than in the House, where you really do have Republicans defending more seats, and when I'm going to use the air quotes here, defending more seats than Democrats are. That's actually factual when you look at the basic Republican-Democrat numbers. But the dynamic in certain states, like this New York City thing, I hope that the Republicans that are going to have to defend there may still have a problem with the Democrat Socialists beating them. But when you look at a lot of these important seats are in Pennsylvania. Frankly, I think Virginia's dynamic has changed from the overwhelming passage or defeat of Winsome Sears. I think that dynamic has changed because of stupid mistakes that Spanberger has made and indictments that have been ensuing. So you look at places like Pennsylvania and Virginia and a couple other places around the country where the dynamic is changing. By the way, there are a few California seats that I think can be held. So the whole thing is kind of changing, and I think it's working in Republicans' favor at the moment. But there's a lot more work to do. But I think the dynamics are there. The foundation is strengthening as we speak.
Okay, predictions now. November 3rd. Do the Republicans hold the Senate or lose it? Or hold the Senate, yes or no, Faf?
Oh, I think I'd put a 90% on them holding the Senate. There are some risks. There's some very real ones. Michael Whatley's not doing so well yet in North Carolina, but his name ID is low. So that's one of my key seats I'm really looking at, because he's got to catch up from being kind of behind against what would be a good Democrat candidate. Roy Cooper's a jerk. I mean, I dislike him greatly, but he's a very good candidate and has money. So that's the linchpin for me. And I think Whatley will be able to overcome that. If he does, then yeah, I'd say there's 90% chance. That would be the outlier.
Todd?
Yeah, I'd vote yes, that they hold it.
Yes, I vote yes. I think we gain a seat. I think Rogers is going to win Michigan. I think we lose Georgia. Collins is horrible. He's
horrible.
Not going to win. Horrible candidate.
Lost opportunity.
Yeah, just a nasty guy. Is not going to carry the suburbs. Ossoff will be there until he's dead. It is what it is. But I think we still got a shot with Whatley. Probably not a great shot, but I think Rogers is going to win Michigan. Collins wins in a landslide. That thing is not going to be close. So I think we hold the Senate. Worst case, even could be up one. Let's get to the House. Let's make our predictions here before we run out of time. Are the Republicans going to keep the House? Yes or no? Todd Sheets.
Yeah, I think they will.
Jim Pfaff.
I do believe that they will. The swing is 2 seats lost to 5 seats gained right now, as I see it, and so it's going to be very thin still, unless there's a good surge that shows up by November.
I think we hold the House, guys. We're going to hold the Keegan seat with the disaster going on with Spanberger. Keegan's going to hold that seat in Virginia. That's really the only one at risk. Whitman's going to win easy, so forget that. You got 4 seats in Pennsylvania the Democrats are targeting. We could go 4 for 4, or we could go 0 for 4. I think we go 3 for 4. Probably one of them they'll flip over, but I think we win 3. But I think you nailed it. There's a couple seats in the California gerrymander. I think we might pick, hold one, but we're also going to gain 10 seats with this map change. So I think we hold the House, hold the Senate, and then Trump gets rid of home rule in Washington, D.C. That's my prediction.
I've been saying we need to do 2 things with Washington, D.C. One is get rid of home rule, and the second is re-annex Northern Virginia back into D.C.
No, I don't want Northern Virginia. You want to give it to us. You want to get it out of Virginia because you live there. I don't want any part of that, Todd. He's trying to pull Northern Virginia off on us. We don't want it.
Yeah, but I don't like this racist Confederate thing that took it away from D.C. back in the Civil War. But listen, one seat to watch.
I don't want
it. One seat to watch that will be a test is Maine 2. Former Governor LePage is running there. That would be a pickup. And and then Pennsylvania and Virginia are really part of this big dynamic. And I don't say there are a lot of interesting dynamics around the country. Iowa's going to be interesting, some others. But there are so many seats between Virginia and Pennsylvania that if those, every one of those, like you mentioned, Kiggins in Virginia, if every one of those keeps, Scott Perry in Pennsylvania is going to be a big race again, as it always is. I love Scott. He's one of my favorites. But that's where the dynamic is going to show itself up, because they're bunched up in states that are really critical for Republicans to do a lot of hard work in. If the hard work is done in those two states, you could see a nice bit of pickup if the winds start to roll the right way.
We'll see. We're both very, very bullish. I'm very bullish on the economy, Todd, as we were talking earlier. I mean, the foundation that Trump. And everybody is forgetting about this one big, beautiful bill. They just forget about it. That thing has got this economy going on steroids. I had Kelly Loeffler on my show the other day. She told me, Todd, there is a record number of small businesses opening in the nation and a record number of applications for small business loans, which are now made on merit, right? During Biden, it was basically cronies. They looked the other way. The application could be on a paper napkin. They were getting them. That's why there was all the fraud. They've cut that out. Now they're only giving legitimate loans. You have to have a business plan, a credit, all that stuff. Those are happening. People start opening up small businesses, Jim. They start hiring people. I mean, that's what they do. You got to hire somebody, right?
Well, and a lot of these businesses, and Todd's going to have more numbers than I do, but a lot of these small businesses are benefiting from the one thing we don't think about in the big, beautiful bill, which is immediate expensing of capital expenditure. Like that not only helps medium-sized and larger businesses, but mostly the medium-sized businesses, which employ a lot of people. It helps small businesses, which employ even more people than medium and large-sized businesses. That's happening in ways that we're not entirely watching and seeing evidently yet in the way people talk to the economy.
You got to own a small business to understand it, like Ann and I do. Like we're in the midst now of buying another station in Tennessee. Would not have done it without the 100% deduction 1 year. With that, I just got a quote. I got to buy a new transmitter because the one they have is a piece of garbage. $50,000. You know, that means I got to go borrow that money. I mean, you think about this, right? We got to finance the station. Then we got to finance the transmitter. That's $50,000. Then we got to hire salespeople, right? Then we got to, pay the rent on the office. All of this coming only because we have the ability in the first year to write it off. If this had to go back over 5, I wouldn't have the cash flow to do that. I just wouldn't. And so people don't understand when you own a small business, that 100% deduction is huge. It inspires investment, that brings jobs, that brings everything going down the pipeline, Todd.
Yeah, I'll just finish up with saying this. Look, no better sign of confidence in what is happening in the economy than all of this happening in the small business sector. And also keep in mind, it's extending all the way up to the big business sector. When you see Elon Musk raising the kind of money he did in a historic offering, Google went to the market and did it. You see the kind of hundreds of billions of dollars these AI companies are putting into the economy. All of these things are signs that this is real. This isn't fake. This isn't talking point. It's not just big picture numbers that people can't relate to. These are signs of real confidence, people voting with their own money about where they think this economy is headed. We couldn't have a better indicator.
We're going to win the Senate. We're going to win the House. We're going to get home rule in D.C. And Jim Pfaff, you can keep Northern Virginia. We don't want it. You're on the John Fredericks Media Network. We have nothing to do with it. You keep it. It's
I'm
yours.
on the right
You
side
created
of
it.
history.
You
We're supposed
created
to be
it.
unified here, guys. We're supposed to be unified.
I don't want your
We have
creepy
dissension
Fairfax.
within the ranks.
You can keep Fairfax. I don't want it. John Fredericks Media Network, live from Washington, D.C. We don't want your crazy Fairfax. We'll be right back.
Are specifically about Iran buying American agricultural products, but Guy said Iran would decide on what it would import based on prices and quality. I'm Charles Philippes.
Vice President Vance says Iranians have pledged to allow freedom of navigation in the strategic Strait of Hormuz, which President Trump says is now fully reopened. The Iran war comes with a price tag, pretty hefty one at that. Much of the $80 billion the administration is seeking from Congress will pay for the war. Not sure you'll want to check the stock portfolio today, at least based on where Wall Street futures stand as of this morning. Futures are down sharply, led by a sell-off in tech. That's being fueled by a big slump in SpaceX stock. President Trump will highlight the economy and American manufacturing. He holds a rally today at a Mack truck plant near Allentown, Pennsylvania. France is ground zero for a stubborn European heat wave. Dangerously high temperatures above 100 degrees expected to persist through the end of the week. And on Wall Street, the Dow futures are down 217 points. NASDAQ futures off 791. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Hey, I'm Kirk Cameron. Is health insurance eating up your budget for 2026? If you're looking for ways to better steward your finances, consider this: Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's a health insurance alternative at half the cost. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. While insurance companies tell you when to join, what to pay, and where to go, CHM is different. As a ministry, CHM allows you to share the burden of medical bills with other Christians. You can enroll, switch programs, or leave at any time. Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's a world of difference. CHM has 4 flexible programs. You can pick any certified doctor, surgeon, or hospital that you want for eligible care. So make the switch. Take your paycheck back from health insurance this year. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. That's chministries.org/wellness.
A Russian drone strike on Sumy in northeastern Ukraine has killed 3 family members, including a 13-year-old boy. Officials also report a Ukrainian strike on a Russian industrial plant that killed 5 people. Russia has targeted Ukrainian civilian areas with drones and missiles since its invasion began over 4 years ago. Ukraine has increasingly been striking back at Russian oil facilities and military plants. A UN tally says more than 16,000 civilians have died in the war so far. Brexit fractured the European Union and it broke British politics. The country is about to get its 7th prime minister since the 2016 vote to leave the EU. Labour Prime Minister Keir Starmer announcing that he'll be stepping down after 2 years of economic turmoil and political division, partly spawned by Brexit. One historian says a referendum was meant to end Conservative Party arguments about Europe, but failed. News and analysis, townhall.com. A troubling report on fentanyl and how the deadly drug flooded the streets of America.
According to current and former DEA agents and records reviewed by the Associated Press, the Drug Enforcement Administration allowed hundreds of thousands of fentanyl pills to hit the streets of New Mexico from 2023 to 25. The tactic was intended to build larger cases against drug traffickers, but whistleblower David Howell says the DEA gambled with public safety and violated Justice Department rules intended to protect the public from the dangerous drug. Then, ridding the streets of illicit fentanyl became the DEA's top priority over the past decade as overdose deaths surged. I'm Julie Walker.
An investigation is getting underway after a Tesla vehicle that was using automated driving slammed into a house in Texas at high speed, killing a 76-year-old woman who was inside. More on these stories at townhall.com.
This summer, the Thunder returns to Colonial Downs Racetrack. Live thoroughbred racing June 25th through September 7th. Feel the excitement. Hear the roar of the crowd. Experience Virginia's premier horse racing destination every Thursday through Sunday all summer long. Bring the whole family for Family Fun Sundays, packed with activities for all ages. Parking? Free. General admission? Free. Memories? Priceless. Make Colonial Downs Racetrack your new summer fun time tradition. Get tickets and race day info now at colonialdowns.com.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
Trouble concentrating or recalling information is frustrating, embarrassing, and kills productivity. Nutrition company Healthy Cell created Focus and Recall to boost your brain power. Unlike other supplements that don't work, Focus and Recall is not a pill. It's a gel you swallow with ultra-absorption of science-backed ingredients to help you immediately sharpen focus, concentrate longer, and strengthen recall. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order. Risk-free. Love it or your money back. Guaranteed. Healthycell.com. Code Godzilla.
Bad decisions limit future options. Make enough bad decisions and you will destroy your life. Listen to The Flatline with your host, Rick Hughes, every Sunday morning on the John Fredericks Radio Network. The Flatline describes a main line of resistance in your soul, built on God's Word. Join us every Sunday morning for 30 minutes of inspiration, motivation, and education, all without manipulation. That's The Flatline with Rick Hughes, heard here every Sunday at 8:30 a.m. on the John Fredericks Radio Network.
This is Crom Carmichael, CEO of Solti. We got a wonderful email from one of our customers up east named Joe, and here's what he had to say. I started taking Solti almost out of desperation with little hope because I was resigned to the futility that although I was up to taking 2 statins a day, high cholesterol was something I just had to learn to live with. In fact, when I turned 60, after taking a stress cardio test, my doctor called me on a Saturday, which of course is never a good sign, and told me that I was clogged more than 95% of the people my age. I had an angioplasty and a stent procedure done at that time. Today, my stubborn triglycerides are only 1/3 of what they had been before starting taking Solti. My prescription statin dosage has shrunk from 60 milligrams to only 10 milligrams a day. My primary care doctor that I have had for many years still can't believe the results, and neither can I. Thank you, Solti, for providing such a wonderful product. And folks, I want to invite you to take care of your heart also by going to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. Use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% discount on your initial shipment. Thanks so much.
Live from the studios of the John Fredericks Media Network, it's the John Fredericks Show. Grab yourself a cup of 1775 coffee, sit back, and get ready for the best 4 hours of talk in the universe. To be part of the show, just call our toll-free number, 888-480-5646. And now, here's the Godzilla of Truth, the Oracle of the Deplorables, the man who once told Don Corleone, thanks, but no thanks, John Fredericks.
You're on the John Fredericks Media Network, and I am your Godzilla of the Truth in America, your Oracle of the Deplorables, coming live from your nation's capital, where the reflecting pool is going to be soon be fixed, vandalized, no doubt, allegedly by somebody with a knife, cutting the bottom so the paint would peel, and then somebody throwing in the middle of the night fertilizer to grow algae so they could destroy the reflecting pool for all to see. So this is what goes on here in Washington, D.C. Now, this is allegations. These are alleged. We don't know who the perpetrators are. Apparently, the park police do have a license plate. Now, the National Guard guarding the pool. And so when you put something in a body of water that causes harm to it, that is called ecological terrorism. And you get 20 years for that. So I hope they find these guys and lock them up, because you can't do that. But that's the deal. People hate Trump so much. They'd rather live in filth and squalor and have a disgusting pool like they've had under Biden in order to prove their point that Trump shouldn't be fixing the city and turning it into the Disneyland of the North, because they'd rather have tents and people defecating on the sidewalk and them stepping in their human waste and needles all around and just living in filth and garbage and squalor. As long as Trump can't get credit, they're fine with it, apparently, in my city. Unbelievable what we deal with here. And you know what? Trump derangement syndrome, the reflecting pool is ground zero. There is no doubt about it. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Meantime, this segment brought to you by our good friends that are supporting the Safer Supervision Act, now making its way through the Senate. Yay, it's in markup. Now, what the Safer Supervision Act does is it lets parole officers focus on real public safety and not on people that don't need them watching them. So somebody gets out of prison, they're on parole, they're under supervision. 6 months go by, they're doing all the right things. They got a job, they're going to church, no alcohol, no drugs. They're with their family. They're doing all the right things. Why do you need to supervise them? It is a waste of time. So this act on the federal level, which has been very successful in a number of states, allows a parole officer to make a recommendation to the judge based on their experience. It's their client, and judge looks it over. And if judge agrees, judge signs it, and the supervision is gone. And then the parole officer has a lower caseload, and they can focus on the people that need the supervision, not those that don't. This is the biggest safety no-brainer in history, and we got to get this passed. It's been passed in many states, Virginia, one of them, very successful, but now we got to get it passed on a federal level, and so we need your help. And I ask everybody, just go to safersupervision.com. Very important. Spend a minute. Look it over. Go to safersupervision.com. Tell your congressman, tell your senator to support the Safer Supervision Act. Go to safersupervision.com. This message has been paid for by the Reform Action Fund, and we're good to go. Now, join me now, Noah Coffin. He is Turning Point USA chapter president, is with us. Noah, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
All right, Noah, tell us a little about your chapter and what you're doing for TPUSA and how you're making a difference.
Absolutely. Look, we are fighting for truth over here in liberal Albemarle County, Virginia. What started as just a group of friends about a year ago looking to create a culture of civil dialogue in our school has rapidly grown to the largest high school chapter in the nation, bringing over 250 kids on average to every single meeting, seeing highs of 700 kids. And look, here's what I've taken away from this, and here's why I think what we're doing, what Turning Point chapters all across the nation are doing is so powerful. We're taking kids from different sides of the cafeteria, different sides of the classroom, who on your day-to-day basis would never talk to each other. We're bringing them in the same room, and we're letting them talk about these controversial topics that they've been told for decades they're not allowed to talk about. You're not old enough. You're not ready. It's too mature. Saying, no, you guys are the future of America. It is time to step up and talk about these things. That's the last thing the left wants to see, is civil dialogue in schools among students. Moreover, that's what we've been able to do, not just on a local scale, but with thousands of chapters around the nation.
Noah, and so what is the name of your high school again?
Western Albemarle High School here in Albemarle County, Virginia.
Just outside of Charlottesville.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very, very liberal college at UVA.
Absolutely.
How many is it? Is it a 5A high school? How many kids in the high school?
We have about 1,200.
So it's what, 3A?
I believe it's 3A. Yes, sir.
3A. So you got a 3A school with 1,500 students, and you said that you have 250 kids at a meeting.
Yes, our membership averages around 250 per meeting. We've seen highs with our local hometown congressman, John McGuire, bringing up to over 700 students at one time, packed in a room. We've never seen anything like it before, but I think it just serves as further proof that our generation is ready for these conversations. They do want to say in the future of our nation. They're not just as lazy and sit back as sometimes the media can portray them. And we've seen that firsthand here at our high school.
Well, Noah, think about it. Just your membership alone represents almost 20% of your entire student body from freshmen to seniors. Is there a breakdown, freshman, senior, male, female? Give me the kind of the breakdown.
You'd expect a lot of our friends, maybe older men, to join this club, but we've been shocked. We're seeing equal representation across genders, across grades, and we honestly don't really have an explanation for it. There's been no targeting to increase membership in any certain demographic. We're just so blessed that everyone's been wanting to get involved. And I think it's really attractive to students, across the whole entire spectrum when for years we've seen only one side represented in our school. You hear this all the time across the media about culture wars in high schools and college campuses especially, but in our school there wasn't really ever a culture war. When I got to our school, it was completely dominated by the left. And so I think that's something that's attractive to everyone growing up in the public school system for the first time in decades. For most of them, they have the opportunity to share their voice on a conservative platform. And so I think that's attractive to freshmen, to seniors, and it's been really wonderful to see that grow.
You're on the John Fredericks Media Network. We're live in Washington, D.C. We're chatting with Noah Coffin, TP, Turning Point USA chapter president, has the biggest high school chapter in America in West Albemarle High School, just outside of Charlottesville. Now, so when you guys meet, Turning Point USA, I know there's probably a left-wing, liberal, socialist counterpart to you guys. What happens?
Yeah, no, look, there absolutely is. You'll notice their club has around 25 kids, 30 kids. And so, look, they're nowhere near the scale of ours, but that's for a certain reason. I think the concept of Americana, the concept of patriotism, the concept of love for your country, I think is 10 times more attractive than a spirit of hate for your country, a spirit of hate for your peers. But look, we've seen plenty of opposition from them, plenty of opposition from students who disagree with us. But in our case, it's only made us stronger. What we've seen, opposition that's meant to tear us down, just has had the complete opposite effect. It's encouraged students to show up. It's encouraged students to speak up. And students who might not have cared about it before, all of a sudden, they're pretty excited to see just what happens at these Turning Point meetings that everybody cares about so much. And so we're honestly thankful that we have opposition. We're thankful we're not just in an echo chamber, because it's made a lot of people interested when in reality they wouldn't have been otherwise.
Let's open this up for phone calls. If you want to call Noah, ask him a question, 888-480-JOHN, 888-480-5646. Noah, I'll just throw this out there. Anytime you guys need a speaker for one of your events, you just get in contact with Tina, and we'll work out a date. I'll be happy to be there. If you can't support the largest high school Turning Point chapter in America that started from scratch, why are we here? Like, what are we doing? So be happy to come out there and help you out at any time when you need a featured speaker. What are some of the issues that you guys talk about?
Yeah, we've gone through a lot of the kind of core constitutional and conservative values that really help shape the United States. And so we've talked about things like freedom of speech. We've talked about free markets. We've talked about limited government, kind of those constitutional issues, even to more modern day issues like abortion, like immigration, like transgenderism. And we've seen those meetings get pretty controversial. We've had battles back and forth with their school board just to allow conversation about those meetings. They've taken us to court just to allow conversations about these meetings, but then it's all worth it when you see 200, 300, 400, 700 kids gather in these rooms excited to talk about these controversial topics. And a lot of people get this wrong. A lot of people think Turning Point is sowing division. They're sowing hate. They're pushing these topics to shut other people down, but really it's the exact opposite. We're pushing these topics out of love for our neighbor, out of love for our classmates, and out of love for civil discussion. That's the exigence behind what we're doing. And we continue to treat everyone with love, whether they're Republican, whether they're Democrat, whether they're conservative, whether they're liberal. That's just something a lot of people on the outside looking in have gotten wrong, but we've proved them wrong every single time we bring one of these controversial topics into our school and attack it from an angle of love.
Are you a junior or a senior?
I just graduated high school a couple weeks ago, and I'll be heading to Liberty University in the fall.
Great school, Liberty University.
I'm so excited.
You going to be doing online, or are you going to be on campus?
I'll be in person, moving about an hour away, heading over to campus. I'll be heavily involved with Turning Point there as well, majoring in policy and politics. It'll be quite a different vibe coming from one of the most liberal counties in the state, going to kind of conservative haven over in Lynchburg. But it'll be a peaceful 4 years, and I'm very excited for it.
What about who's going to be your replacement?
We have such an incredible team. And everyone says that, you have to, you're polite. It's what you have to do. But no, seriously, our team is incredible. They are going to do such great things. We have freshmen, juniors, sophomores, seniors all ready to step up who have been training for this. They have such great things planned. And so our chapter will not be going anywhere anytime soon.
Have they tried to shut you down and shut you up? What did that look like?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. We have seen many times where administrations like our school board, city council have come in and tried to shut us down. One of our recent meetings where we hosted Victoria Cobb, she's president
Yeah,
of
I know
the Family
Victoria.
Foundation. Yeah, she was coming to talk about transgenderism, a meeting called Two Genders, One Truth. At first, they banned the speaker, said, no, she can't come at all. They sent a letter of demand, their Founding Freedoms Law Center. They said, okay, fine, she can come. Then they decided to call us the KKK. That blew up very fast. It was very unprofessional by the school board. But lastly, they took us to federal court, the restraining order by a student for Victoria Cobb, trying to prevent her to come to our school. Thankfully, we won, and Victoria was able to come and had a wonderful meeting. Just when we thought,
wait, they went to a judge and tried to get a restraining order?
They did. There was a student, an anonymous student.
On what grounds?
It's ridiculous. Exactly. You have a non-binary student who feels threatened by Victoria Cobb's presence, who says, no, she can't come within 500 feet of me. Since I'm going to be at the school tomorrow, she can't come there. And so you have a 10 o'clock hearing, the Founding Freedoms Law Center. Thank God they get involved. They shut that down fast. And it was funny. It's a Biden-appointed judge who wrote a 5-page letter saying, no, this is not happening. Victoria Cobb is coming to Western Albemarle High School. I think that was a very powerful moment for free speech. But what we're seeing now from our school board is even more concerning. We just saw a alleged child sex predator, a teacher at Hollymead Elementary School, Michael Sweeney, get arrested for 11 counts of federal sex crimes against children. Now, what we've seen is our school board, who's known about this for 6 months. They have had 6 months to prepare, yet they're leaving the community with no action, no answers, no policy to make sure this doesn't happen again, when they're saying, oh my gosh, we didn't have enough time. No. Timeout. They were able to throw together policy within weeks to block our Turning Point chapter from having speakers, to try to shut down our Turning Point chapter. But now, when it's something serious, when it's something truly dangerous, like the protection of our children, they're left with no action, no answers over 6 months. And so I think it's starting to show the true priorities and the true colors of our school board.
So you actually had school board members trying to stop Victoria Cobb from coming to your school. I mean, like, don't they have something better to do? She's a great lady.
Well, you'd think so, and you'd hope they have something better to do, but they show them time and time again they haven't. And more recently, our chapter was scheduled to host Erica Kirk for one of our largest chapter meetings yet, when they opposed a new policy that was designed to shut us down. And it did 3 things. Number one, it blocked all speakers for non-curricular clubs, including Turning Point. It gave them control of all of our funding and allowed them to shut down any club they deemed as hateful or discriminatory, which is, sure, that sounds great on the surface. You don't want hateful. You don't want discriminatory clubs in your school. But that becomes an issue when sitting school board members have already gone on record calling our club the KKK. All of a sudden, it gets a little risky when you've been called a KKK, that we might be labeled as a hateful or discriminatory club. And so, yet again, it seems like they have nothing better to do than go after a group of high school kids who seek the truth. It's so disappointing to see. I mean, these are the elected officials we put in office. We have to do better.
But then you got a sexual predator running around and they do nothing.
Right. They do absolutely nothing, because Turning Point is the dangerous ones in schools.
Except the guy that's sexually, allegedly, whoever he is, sexually being sexually abusing kids, or whatever the allegations are. I'm not sure, but whatever it is, it's serious allegations. They don't have time for that, but they have time to shut down Victoria Cobb. It's just incredible, man. Well, thank you for your courage. Thank you for putting this together. And thanks for you coming on my show. You're a very passionate, very articulate young man, and you're going to have a tremendous future ahead of you. Glad that you're at Liberty University. People want to follow you. I know you have a social media following. Where do they go, Noah?
Absolutely. You can find me on all platforms at Real Noah Coffin, Coffin.
What do your parents make of this whole thing?
Look, they are the best. Dad, he's retired law enforcement. My mom works in healthcare. They are both so supportive. I mean, look, they've brought me up rooted in these conservative values, but they've left me with room to explore and room to grow. They are so supportive. They're with me through all of this. It's been scary sometimes, but I'm so blessed to have such a great support system behind me. I love them so much.
Do you have any siblings?
I do. 2 little siblings, one in high school, just getting to start experiencing turning point and high school culture, and one who's still in elementary school, so he has a long way to go, but he's passionate and learning, and he's ready to step up very soon.
All right, Noah, thank you for being with us. I'm not going to ask if you have a girlfriend, but if you do, I hope she's supportive of what you're doing. I'm sure you'll have one soon if you don't. Noah, thank you. Assuming you want a girlfriend. I have no earthly idea. But when you get older like me, you always got to ask that question.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you, Noah, for being
Thank you so much for having me. This is a blast.
All right, Noah Coffin. All right, we're going to be right back. Stay with us.
Folks, this is Crom Carmichael, CEO of Solti. I have recently turned 77 years old. I do not take prescription drugs. I have not had to take prescription drugs, and I attribute a lot of my good health to a product that I've been taking, which is the active ingredient in Solti. It's a 22% concentration of theaflavin. We did clinical trials on it 25 years ago and found that it helped lower cholesterol. We have had many, many hundreds of letters and emails from customers telling us how it has helped them not only manage their cholesterol, but lower their triglycerides and help them on their blood pressure. And I can't tell you how much I attribute to Solti for my good health at age 77. And I encourage you to go to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. And use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% off on your initial shipment of Solti. And I promise you it will be a great help for your heart health. Thanks so much.
What if you had a plan to build income outside your job? At Lifestyles Unlimited, you'll learn how people are investing in real estate to grow their income and make smarter financial choices one property at a time. Right now, join us for just $297. That's a savings of $443 off our real estate education program. Text RADIO to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Don't touch that dial. You found your home of the truth.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
With the best analysis in America.
You can't handle the truth.
And now back to the John Fredericks Show.
All right, you're back on the John Fredericks Media Network. I'm going to get to cut 4, talking about this reflective pond. Don't play a lot of Fox News people, but Waters nailed this one. He's like, the reflecting pond has become Trump derangement syndrome ground zero. I said that about 2 days ago, and now I got other people picking it up. But go ahead, roll that cut 4. Take a listen.
Public works. All Trump wants to do is build big, beautiful ballrooms, arches, fountains, so our cities reflect the greatness of our republic. Unfortunately for America 250, the reflecting pool has become TDS ground zero.
Are the contractors who did the initial work for the reflecting pool, are they to blame for the current condition, or is it
No,
the vandals?
we had vandalism. No, vandals. We have I think 290, 300-foot slit right through it, probably a box cutter or a knife of some kind. Or we had people lifting up the basic, it's not a lot of damage, but we'll probably have to let the water out and refix it.
Did the contractors boot it? Well, we don't know. But the president says people are pouring chemicals into the reflecting pool, carving up the bottom with knives. Not only is the National Guard standing watch, but concerned citizens are keeping an eye out for sabotage.
5 people are arrested, and 5 people are under investigation right now. And it's a sad thing. In addition to that, they You know, we put brand new, beautiful grass all around. They put these massive letters on the grass. You probably know about that, right? And they said 8647. They probably got that from the dirty cop, Comey.
The park police arrested a former Olympic canoer, you know. Records show he's an Obama donor who's been arrested by park police before. The Olympian Democrat donor was charged with a misdemeanor, destruction of government property, and he told the AP he's just a concerned citizen. Well, this curious and concerned citizen is now being repped by one of the most famous Democrat lawyers in the country. I think we know what's going on here. Trump went to get a look at the pool himself, and he didn't like what he saw, so he ordered immediate repairs. Typical. Trump's trying to drain the swamp, but the Democrats trying to keep it dirty.
Art is smarter than MAGA. Art is smarter than MAGA. $1.1 million for y'all to watch porn scum. Our money's really being spent well for y'all to watch porn scum. Let's go, Algie! Let's go!
And the media, they didn't send a reporter to the border for years. I've never seen a correspondent on the south side of Chicago, Skid Row. But now they found their new Watergate. The Democrats can't build high-speed rail or charging stations. And have you seen the Obama library? They can't build things even if you give them 20 years and $1 billion. Now, if you believe America was founded on racism and greed and colonialism, then yeah, you don't think we deserve majestic monuments and ballrooms and clean fountains and statues that glorify our nation's history and heritage. And cleanliness is godliness, I was told. Trump knows. He has beautiful properties all over the world. My mom has been to one of them. Not a Trump fan. Even she said it was tasteful. Let the man cook. And if you can't, tell it to the judge.
Anyone who was in a position of vandalizing or attempting to vandalize the reflecting pool will face the criminal justice system in D.C. Look, the president has made it a priority to make D.C. not only safe but beautiful. And there are several citations that have been handed out to individuals, and these are cases that will be prosecuted to the full extent.
Former
Isn't it amazing that the fake news hasn't told you that there have been 5 arrests and 5 people under investigation? They just said Trump made it up, but yet 5 people have been arrested and 5 are under investigation. How's that slip through the cracks? The reflecting pool is ground zero for Trump derangement syndrome. You, my friends, are on the John Fredericks Media Network. Truck the truth across America. I am your Godzilla of the truth and clarity right here. We're going to be right back with your calls, 888-480-JOHN.
Your host, Rick Hughes, every Sunday morning on the John Fredericks Radio Network. The Flatline describes a main line of resistance in your soul, built on God's Word. Join us every Sunday morning for 30 minutes of inspiration, motivation, and education, all without manipulation. That's The Flatline with Rick Hughes, heard here every Sunday at 8:30 a.m. on the John Fredericks Radio Network. Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
He's your Godzilla of the truth in America.
Run! It's Godzilla!
No gibberish or nonsense, just common sense. And now back to the John Fredericks Show.
Well, it's Tuesday. It's Election Day. It is primary runoff day in South Carolina, and our favorite candidate in the history of South Carolina, Pam Evitt, is joining us now. She is locked in a tough battle with AG Alan Wilson. Both of them got President Trump's endorsement. First, Pam Evitt did before the runoff, and now they're locked in a tough battle. Pam Evitt, who I have nicknamed because of facts and what she's done, Joan of Arc of South Carolina, my candidate for governor, is joining us now on Election Day, giving us her time when she's out shaking hands with voters. This is the day, win or lose. You got to win, got to get 50% plus one. Pam, thanks for being with us.
John, thank you so much for having me again. Thank you so much for your support. It has been a wild 2 weeks for sure. You know, I came up on top 2 weeks ago, and it's the shortest victory lap you get to take. One lap around the track, and you got to start campaigning again.
Well, that's why we're such a supporter of yours, because you're a very tough lady. We call you the Joan of Arc of South Carolina. We know that you're out there working hard, but your platform, I think, is going to resonate today. You were the one that stood in the gap when we tried to get this redistricting done in South Carolina. I didn't see your opponent anywhere. You had press conferences. You testified. You were there from day one. You were there admonishing the South Carolina rhinos in the Senate that wouldn't get it done for 2026, that could end up costing us the House. So you were the one that stood in the gap. You had the courage of your convictions to do that. Your opponent, nowhere to be found.
John, it's worse than that. I was hearing from people in the State House that he was literally calling senators and telling them to not vote for redistricting because he didn't want to have to stand up against it in court when it hit court. And so, you know, it's worse than he just wasn't there. He was actively working against it. And so, you know, it has been rough. He has ran a real mudslinging campaign and trying to tell me that that was me, right? I was talking about facts. He took 126% pay increase, the same pay increase that I turned down year after year from the General Assembly. He gave over $70 million in a no-bid contract to his ex-law firm on the settlement of Savannah River site. You know, Nancy Mace, I know, you know her, you have a relationship with her. But she FOIA'd his own records in her district and found that he had pled down over 90% of child pornography in her area. I've had moms reach out to me saying how horrifying that is. So it has been, you know, and every time I try to tell the truth, he basically says, you know, oh, this is mudslinging. Only a career politician can tell you that the facts are somehow mudslinging.
You run a business. You've balanced the checkbook for your business. You've signed the front of paychecks. You know what it takes to be successful. And you were there. You know, MAGA 2.0, Pam, it's what I keep saying. It's not about ideology anymore. You know, I can agree with somebody 80% of the time. I'm fine. MAGA 2.0 is about fighters. Either you're going to fight, you have the courage of your convictions, or not. It is as simple as that. Aren't you sick of the John Thunes of the world going around talking about traditionalism? Meantime, we can't get the SAVE Act even on the floor, Pam, for a vote. When this redistricting thing came up, you were there, you were in the hearings, you were testifying, and you were the one that was fighting for it, you and you alone. Your opponent, as you said, was nowhere to be found. He didn't want to defend it. I mean, think about it. He didn't want to defend it? Well, that's what your job is. What do you mean you didn't want to defend it? That's going to be your next governor? I want somebody who not only can defend it, but wants to defend it, and that's Pam Evitt.
And what's the matter, John, with losing? Right? You fight the battles that you have that you feel are important, win or lose. You have to be in the fight. And that is the one thing that took me out of the private sector, because I wanted to be in the fight to make things better. And, that's what we see. For 8 years, I just got off a radio show, and I said, for 8 years, I've been the lieutenant governor. And all I have heard from grassroots people and mainstream people who aren't really involved in the party, just trying to, make a living and raise their family, over the last 8 years, all I've heard is, I am tired of career politicians. Why can we not get more business people in this to actually make government run like a business? And I'm saying now to the people of South Carolina, okay, you have what you've wished for. The debate last Tuesday was really clear. You can choose from a career politician, or you can choose from a conservative businesswoman. And, he admonished people for moving to South Carolina, basically said that I wasn't the right candidate because I wasn't born here. Even though I've raised my family here, my husband's been here for generations, I've created jobs here. But because I didn't hit the lottery of being born in South Carolina, somehow that made me not qualified to serve. Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot of people voting today that wasn't voted in South Carolina that took offense.
I mean, that's the only thing they got on you is where you were born. I mean, give me a break. See,
I know.
Look, it goes back to what I said earlier, right? You don't have to agree with Pam on every single issue that I happen to. I'm an anomaly, perhaps. I agree with you on everything, but you don't have to. But you want to fight her. You want somebody that's going to fight with you when the chips are down, that believes in what you're doing and is going to stand in the gap, and she's proven to do that. Your opponent has not. I mean, and it just manifested itself over this redistricting thing, which, I could not believe. We just gave them a seat. We're said to the Democrats, here's a seat. We could have had it. Here it is, right? Democrats are like, well, we could win 2 seats. Fine. Then vote for it. Of course they didn't, because they can't. That's the thing. And look, you brought up Nancy Mace. I hope if you voted for Nancy Mace out there, Nancy's a fighter. You need to today vote for Pam. I don't agree with Nancy on everything. 80% rule. I don't, right? We have our differences. But the thing about Nancy is she'll fight for you. And if you want to fight her, that's what Pam is. So if you voted for Mace, vote for Pam today, because that's the person that you're going to get fighting for you. I'm sick of these people that at the first sign of trouble, they cower, cave, and hide. This is what we got going on, Pam, in the U.S. Senate. This is what went on in your state Senate. And I know if you're as governor, you're not going to do that.
I'm not. You have to fight for what you believe in. And, nobody wants a coward. And that's what the people need to see today. And again, if sometimes don't you wonder why when people get exactly what they've been asking for, they will not come out and vote for it? That's what I've been wrestling with. My whole push this weekend has been to get people out to vote, because this is a runoff, and you know how this works. It doesn't matter who endorsed you. It doesn't matter what the polls say. It matters on who will wake up today and feel it's important enough to go cast their vote. And, we had 2 days of early voting here in South Carolina, really low voter turnout. Over only 75,000 people statewide voted in early voting. And so it's really coming down to today and who will get up. So John, work your magic here in South Carolina, put a post out, put a tweet out, rally your troops that listen to you here in South Carolina. To polls opened at 7 today. They'll be open till 7 o'clock. It's all about turnout, and we can win this thing. And I've said to everybody, listen, when you vote for me, it's a vote I promise you'll never regret, because I will always be here to fight for you.
You have been articulate and strong on every single issue, from the redistricting to eliminating the South Carolina income tax. I mean, it goes on and on. You've been clear on everything. Hey, you were also the person that went to speak at an event that they tried to throw out. You wouldn't cave on that. Look, folks, if you're in South Carolina today, or you know anybody there, you have a friend, you have a family member, anybody in South Carolina, get out and vote today. We need fighters. Pam Evatt has proven to all of us when the chips are down, she rises. She doesn't cave. She doesn't say, I don't want to defend that. She doesn't want to say it's too hard. She doesn't want to go get, go in the cloakroom and get a cocktail and no, she wants to go out and fight. She's done that since she's been there as lieutenant governor. But look, Pam, talk is cheap, right? Anybody can talk. Talk is cheap. Action, action, action. Pam Evatt in the last 90 days has shown you action. You wanted that seat. You fought for it. The Senate caved. You were there. Your opponent, nowhere to be found. You're either going to fight Pam or you're not. You want a fighter. You want Pam Evatt. Pam, I am so convinced you're going to win today. You're going to get your voters out because people on a day like today in a runoff, like they did for Ken Paxton in Texas, they go out and they vote for the person that they know is going to make a difference in their lives. And that's Pam Evatt. Joan of Arc of South Carolina, vote for Pam today.
Thanks, John.
Pam, thank you. People want to follow you. Where do they go?
Go to PamelaEvatt.com. And like you said, we're down to the wire. Today is the day. Polls have already opened. If you're in South Carolina, please make a plan. Get out today and get to the polls and vote for me. If you know somebody that lives in South Carolina, a friend, a family member, call them. Remind them they have to get out and vote because whoever wins today will be the next governor of South Carolina.
And if you voted for Nancy or you voted for Ralph, they're good people. Had them all on my show a lot, especially Nancy. Vote for Pam. They're fighters. Pam's a fighter. That's what you want. MAGA 2.0 is about one thing, folks. Who is going to fight? That's it. That's all it's about now. Pam is going to lead you there. Pam Evatt, thank you for your time today and good luck.
Thanks, John.
All right. Pam Evatt, candidate for governor, Joan of Arc of South Carolina. A lot of people don't like her. A lot of people don't like me. I get it, right? Why don't they like her? Well, let's see. She's tough. She's in your face. She doesn't back down, right? You're looking for squishes. Nah, it's not going to work for her, right? Action, action, action. I'm sick of people talking. Talk. Here's a person in South Carolina fought for that seat. She fought for it. She fought the first time. She fought the second time. She got the governor to make the special session. She convinced him to do it. She got all that done, and then they caved again because they're a bunch of weasel rhinos. South Carolina Senate. And her opponent, sure he's a great guy. Trump did a dual endorsement. I get it, right? My consultant, Mike Young, is his consultant. Mike was not happy. I get it. I love Mike. But you got to do what you got to do. I want fighters. I want winners. I want people that are going to stand in the gap. I want a Joan of Arc. This is how we move forward. MAGA 2.0 has got to be about standing in the gap. It can't be for the squeamish, the faint of heart, get along to go along, go to the cocktail parties. No. You need somebody like Pam Evatt, ran a business, built the business from scratch, right? Built it up. And then when push came to shove on the redistricting, she was there. That's all I can say. She was there. Was the other guy there? No. Simple. When you speak truth and clarity, this show is really easy. If you got to spin stuff, it's just too much work. Truth and clarity, Pam Evatt. And hey, if you voted for Nancy Mace, I love Nancy. Don't agree with her on everything, but I love Nancy to death. Great woman. She's a fighter. Don't agree with her all the time, 80%, but she's a fighter. I'll grant her that. So if you want to fight her and you voted for Mace, you gotta vote for Pam, regardless of who Mace endorsed. You gotta vote for Pam. You have to. John Fredericks Media Network, Joan of Arc, South Carolina. Just heard from her. I'll be right back.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
The Truth with John Gordon.
A strong argument can be made that we need a certain number of illegal immigrants to work menial and in some cases dangerous jobs.
Get all the truth you can handle and more.
Immigrants seem willing to do those jobs. American workers do not.
What?
I'm sorry, I just call them like I see them, folks.
Saturday, noon Eastern, 11 Central, on the stations of the John Fredericks Media Network.
I tell you the truth as best I know it.
He's your Godzilla of the truth in America.
Run! It's Godzilla!
No gibberish or nonsense, just common sense. And now back to the John Fredericks Show.
Okay. I'm just going to say this once, and then we're going to move on because I don't want to start a firestorm here. If you had ranked choice voting in the South Carolina primary, Pam Evitt would already be your gubernatorial nominee. There'd be no runoff. You wouldn't have to spend the money. You wouldn't have to have all this negativity going on. All would be gone. You just wouldn't have it, right? But, here we are. And those of you that are opposed to ranked choice voting in Republican primaries, I love you. You're uninformed. You don't get it. You want to go back to Alaska. You want to go back to the nonsense that the talking points put out. Okay? You go to the South Carolina primary for governor. How many MAGA candidates were in this race? And how many rhinos? It's 5-1. You're not getting it. If you allow the Republican Party to choose ranked choice voting in a nominating contest, you ensure, one, the negative ads go way down, which helps you in the fall. Two, you ensure that your nominee has to have a wider appeal to MAGA. Number three, the MAGA candidate will always win. Always, 100% of the time. Why? Because there's 4 MAGA candidates for 1 establishment rhino. In a runoff situation, that rhino can never win, ever. Because the other 3 are going to vote for the other MAGA candidate. And then they're going to build the MAGA coalition, and they're going to be the nominee, just like we saw in Maine. You guys just not getting it. Oh, ranked choice voting helps the rhinos. No, it doesn't. It actually makes them extinct. Just do a simple mathematical equation. Just do the math. Oh, ranked choice voting, Alaska. Oh, nothing to do with Alaska. Oh, nothing to do with it. I'm not for it in the general election. I want parties, Republican parties, to have the option to choose it for their nominating primaries, because it ensures we spend less money that we can save for the fall. We get the best MAGA candidate we can, 100% of the time. And that MAGA candidate has built a coalition of other MAGA candidates so we can come together in the fall and beat the Democrat, which I think is the objective. That's what it does. It is as simple as that. And I know everybody hates it because you read the talking points. Somebody just said to me, oh, the Heritage Foundation's against it. Okay. They don't get it either. I mean, I'm sorry. They don't get it either. They don't get it. I mean, we get it here. I give you truth and clarity, not ridiculous talking points that ignite the base. Because what good does that do? Doesn't do any good. If we had ranked choice voting in Texas, Paxton would have been the nominee 2 months ago. Avoid all that money spent. The $100 million they spent on Cornyn in the runoff could have been spent electing Paxton. I mean, I just do the math. It's a simple arithmetic equation. You can do it with an abacus. 4 to 1, you always win. 3 to 1, you win. 2 to 1, you win. 100% of the time. You got 3 to 1 with no ranked choice voting and a rhino. The rhino could win with 35%. Under ranked choice voting, then they never win because both MAGA candidates vote for each other as a second choice. Zero chance of winning for the rhino. But hey, you know what? Keep posting stuff in caps and see how far that goes. Okay, let's get some other clips here. We got one more minute. I want to get to Trump yesterday when asked if he would risk worldwide depression. This is going to be 9 and strike Iran again. He said, nuclear weapon supersedes depression. Roll it.
If the war with Iran could cause a worldwide depression, as you noted, Mr. President, are you willing to risk economic catastrophe and strike Iran
Well,
again?
not the way I'm doing it. It's not going to cause depression.
Yes, but if they don't abide by the
Well,
memorandum
nuclear
of
weapon
understanding.
supersedes depression. Depression's real bad. Nuclear weapon will cause depression much more quickly. The way we're doing it, we have the opposite of a depression. We're doing really well. The numbers are incredible. The oil is at a level that nobody's ever seen before. Oil prices are way down. I think they're very comparable to what they were. Chris, I don't know, pretty comparable to what they were before we started.
They've returned most of the way back down.
Yeah.
And, so if Iran does not abide by the MOU, are you still willing
What I
for
didn't
strikes?
say
And
it
does
would
give
cause
you
a
leverage?
depression. I said it could cause a depression, right? And I said that I don't want to be Herbert Hoover. That's a president I don't want to be because he was in charge during the Great Depression. And certainly a lot of bad things could happen. That would be one of the things. I don't think it would, but if it did. But no, if Iran doesn't live up to their agreement or if they're not behaving, I will do what I have to do.
Does that give that leverage over you, Mr.
Let's go to President Trump, cut 10. Oh, we're out of time. I'll get that when I get back. West Virginia Mavericks is next. Stay tuned.
WJFN W224EB 92.7 FM Chester, W299DB 107.7 Barnair, 100.5 FM Goochland, and WJFB Portsmouth AM 1650.
I'm Ed Thomason. Another round of primaries on tap today. Voters in 4 states, Maryland and New York, South Carolina and Utah, are heading to the polls.
In New York City, Socialist Mayor Zohran Mamdani endorsing 3 far-left candidates who are running against sitting Democrat members of Congress. In South Carolina, an interesting situation. There's a runoff race for 2 Republicans running for governor. President Trump actually endorsing both of them, Pam Yvette and Alan Wilson. The president writing on his Truth Social page. I can't hurt one of them by only endorsing the other. He goes on to say, it's a wealth of riches. With either, you can't go wrong.
Correspondent Laura Winters. The Senate has passed housing legislation, could come to a vote later today in the House. The goal to bring down home prices while increasing the supply of housing.
The bill represents one of the most sweeping efforts in recent decades to reduce federal regulations for housing and increase local control. The legislation bans corporate investors from buying single-family homes. That's to ensure homes are available for families rather than large corporations. It also addresses concerns about investor-driven price inflation. After final approval this week, the bill goes on to President Trump, who has already signaled his support. Bob Agnew reporting.
Iran's president has arrived in Pakistan for talks with leaders mediating negotiations between Tehran and Washington. Today's visit comes as technical teams in Switzerland work to hammer out details of a deal following high-level talks between Iran and the U.S. President Trump is set to visit Pennsylvania for the fifth time in his second term. The president will be holding a rally today at an Allentown area Mack truck plant, highlighting the economy and U.S. manufacturing. On Wall Street, ahead of this morning's opening bell, the Dow futures are down 245 points. NASDAQ futures are off 900 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Health insurance rates are surging in America, leaving millions without affordable options. If you're sick of having paychecks eaten up by healthcare costs or dealing with mega corporations, then listen to this. Christians don't need to waste money on a broken system. That's why I want to tell you about Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's an alternative to traditional health insurance at half the cost. With CHM, fellow believers contribute monthly to help pay each other's medical bills. There's no enrollment period, so you can join anytime. And you aren't restricted to provider networks, so you choose the doctors and hospitals you want. It's that simple. CHM is not insurance. It's a ministry that puts faith into action. Feel the difference of financial support and biblical care from fellow believers. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. That's chministries.org/wellness.
It's early in the season for this.
Millions of people across France have woken up drenched in sweat after another night of scorching heat, with most of the population exposed to extreme and exceptional temperatures. The organisation Météo France has placed 54 departments under a red heat wave alert. In a country without widespread air conditioning, schools, trains and sporting events remain impacted, while some 20 drowning deaths have been reported since the weekend. The heatwave is exceptionally intense, coming very early in the summer, but with a still uncertain duration, the Weather Service says. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Andy Burnham is preparing for a Labour leadership contest, could make him Britain's Prime Minister within a matter of weeks. Burnham is a strong front-runner to replace Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who is stepping down. Starmer says he will remain at number 10 Downing Street until a successor has been chosen. News and analysis at townhall.com. One town near Houston is all abuzz. Literally.
Semi-trailer carrying around 400 hives missed its turn and then tipped over trying to turn around. Emergency officials east of Houston shut down roads Sunday morning, warning residents to stay in their homes while crews and volunteers from local beekeeping businesses worked to salvage as many hives as possible. Chris Moore, owner of local Moore Honey, estimates that only about a quarter of the hives will survive, and only if the queens remain alive after the crash. Losing this many hives will be a huge blow to the owners of those hives. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Former Oklahoma death row inmate released from incarceration after almost 3 decades, scheduled to be back in court as his case moves to a retrial for a 1997 killing that put him on the brink of execution 3 times. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendment, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
And they're off. This summer, the Thunder returns to Colonial Downs Racetrack. Live thoroughbred racing June 25th through September 7th. Feel the excitement. Hear the roar of the crowd. Experience Virginia's premier horse racing destination every Thursday through Sunday all summer long. Bring the whole family for Family Fun Sundays, packed with activities for all ages. Parking? Free. General admission? Free. Memories? Priceless. Make Colonial Downs Racetrack your new summer fun time tradition. Get tickets and race day info now at colonialdowns.com.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's the top news of the day.
People are out there saying, oh, the Iranians are never going to live by it. But let me tell you something. President Trump is going to bomb them again if they screw around.
Hopefully they live up to it. And if not, the pounding's coming. We're going to do it again and again and again.
The Cats and Cosby Show, weekdays 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the stations of the John Fredericks Media Network.
Trump is the toughest president we ever had.
Well, he's definitely the best bomber.
1775 Coffee is giving away free starter kits. Try the dark or medium roast coffee with longevity blend, an infused blend with anti-aging calcium alpha-ketoglutarate, which has been clinically proven to reduce biological age. When you purchase the first 2 bags, you'll receive a free 1775 starter kit, including a third 16-ounce bag of coffee, a matte black tumbler, a frother, a gold scoop, or a reusable K-cup filter. Just order now at 1775coffee.com/Godzilla and claim your free 1775 starter kit while supplies last.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Live from the studios of the John Fredericks Media Network, it's the John Fredericks Show. Grab yourself a cup of 1775 coffee, sit back, and get ready for the best 4 hours of talk in the universe. To be part of the show, just call our toll-free number, 888-480-5646. And now, here's the Godzilla of Truth, the Oracle of the Deplorables, the man Jack Nicholson knows can handle the truth, John Fredericks.
Well, it's great to have you back. I'm John Fredericks, and I am your Godzilla of the Truth in America, your Oracle of the Deplorables. Great to be here with you. Mountaineer Mavericks coming up. Hey, what a good time to have them. I'm live in your nation's capital, the most beautiful, cleanest city in America, except for the reflecting pool and the people putting algae in it. We're going to get that fixed, though. So, hey, we'd love to have you come and visit us here, right? Look me up if you come in. Great to have you with us. And this is the Disneyland of the North, thanks to President Donald J. Trump. I'm in the White House press pool tomorrow, so get to go to the Oval Office and see what's going on there. Hopefully get a few questions in. President Trump always calls on me, so that's good. So in the pool rotation tomorrow. So we'll see what's going on. And today's segment of, well, this is a Mountaineer Mavericks with our friends from West Virginia coming on, all the delegates and the senators, the movers and the shakers, all coming on. Well, who's their sponsor? Well, of course, it's Hope Gas, because Hope is for West Virginia. We love Hope Gas. They're serving all my 9 signals in West Virginia. Got a problem? Call them up. Boom, done. They answer the phone. I don't know how Hope Gas does that. They actually answer the phone. You call them, they answer the phone. It's a novelty in America when you answer the phone. When you answer the phone, like you get the business. I had a problem, Hope Gas. I had something out. Said something was off the air. We didn't get power, generator, whatever. Call up Hope Gas, boom. 10 minutes, done. Get somebody over there, half hour, boom, done. Back on the air. Great people. I tell you what, I love Hope Gas because of the service and what they do. Now, Hope Gas proudly provides safe and reliable natural gas service to about 140,000 homes. They say 140,000, but I think it's over that, but they made me change it. 140,000 homes and businesses throughout the Mountain State. They proudly serve West Virginia and all my companies. For more information, go to hopegas.com. That's hopegas.com. And of course, our Coliseum, named after them, Hope Coliseum. Joining me now on Mountaineer Mavericks. Everybody's got a little spring in their step today. What do we got here? We've got, let's get him on screen because I forget. We got Delegate Chris Andrews. So I can put my glasses on. We got Delegate Chris Andrews has weaseled his way into the Mountaineer gang. It's like Wally Pip. He's taking advantage of the people that don't show. I don't know where Gino is today. I have no earthly idea. We have no idea where I think Rose has got put 2 weeks notice in. So Andrew says, look, these guys aren't here. I'm going to stand in the gap and earn my way into the Mavericks. There's Gino back from his wedding. Too much face there, Gino. Way too much face. There you go. Much better. Too much face. We have Oliveria. I mean, you know, I love you, man, but like I just can't deal with that at 9 o'clock in the morning. Right? Thank you, though. Yeah, it's just too much. And where's Oliverio? Is he here or did he?
Hey, I'm in. I'm trying to get the camera to work.
God, you guys are still having technical problems. I got to get my Hope Gas guys over there to have you straighten it out. Okay, look, I mean, biggest talk everywhere. Everybody's singing country roads all over the country. The Mountaineer baseball team. By the way, everybody on the show was a sponsor. Thank you, except for Chris Andrews because I never called him up and asked him. But Oliverio, just because I'm a nice guy, I tell you what I did. It's because this was kind of Oliverio's idea. It was a good idea. He said, you know what? You should call up, what's his name? Joey, what's his name? The guy in Fairmont, the lone Dem. I called up. Okay, so look, I got a big office in Fairmont, guys, and I'm not going to blast the guy because he's he's my state senator. He represents my big office in Fairmont. I'm in his district. I called him up 3 times, left messages. Hey, this is John Fredericks. You know, I'd love to talk to you. We got Mountaineers coming up. I want to give you Equal Time as a sponsor. I know we got a big election coming up. I know you're only the Democrat there because Miller's going to win. So you're like all by yourself, whatever, dude. But, you know, call me up. I emailed him. I texted him. I'm his constituent. Never responded. Now, that is not good constituent service. I mean, even if you don't like me, I'm your constituent. You should still call me back or acknowledge my existence. But he did none of that. So as soon as you guys find a candidate for 28 in Fairmont, count me in. I'm going to park my bus in front of his house. 888-480, John, you want to weigh in? Anyway, you guys, I just got to go. What did you guys think of this Mountaineer baseball thing, the run, the Omen-Neers? It caught fire all over the country. It put us on the map. Gino, you want to start?
Yeah, I mean, it's a historic run, and I think that more and more people are starting to find out that West Virginia is not to be trifled with, whether it's here or abroad. I've seen clips from the World Cup of people singing country roads. So we are an institution globally, and it's only a matter of time till everybody knows just how we stand.
let's get to let's get to Mike Height in Martinsburg. Mike, just talking to your constituents, the feeling of pride in the state. Did you feel it like we did?
Oh, absolutely. I think everybody around the state felt that pride. Anytime you can watch a sporting event and hear country roads, there's a lot of pride. Um, but it's even more pride when we're not being represented by a West Virginia team. You look in the World Cup and see them singing country roads at the World Cup. That's huge. I spent some time last year over in Ireland as well, and was surprised when I go into a local pub over there and they're singing country roads in the pub, and everybody knows the words. So there's a lot of pride in West Virginia right now because of that song.
No doubt about it. Mike Oliverio, you've been with us. You were on the bus. You came on our pregame show, I think, 3 times. You were, by the way, your baseball knowledge, excellent. So was Senator Helton, I think, right? I think he coached basketball, right? Is memory serving me? But you guys came on the pregame show. You guys were great. Thank you.
Hey, I really enjoyed being on your show, and Mitch and I had some great banter back and forth, and Brennan, and it was just great. It was so exciting to be in Omaha and see West Virginia on the national stage. And when you showed up and you saw those 8 big flagpoles with each of the school's flags hoisted at the top, and then to see flags start to drop and West Virginia's to be among the Final 4, and to see the flying WV, it was just an incredible experience, and I think it helped a lot of West Virginians understand where we belong, and that's among the national elite. And we just need to keep working that program and the other programs at West Virginia University and across our state. The college athletics is the front porch of any university, and it's what people see, and they make impressions based upon that. So we'll continue to support our athletics and help them shine a light on West Virginia.
Now, Mike Oliverio, let's get to the nature of the state Senate in West Virginia. The last time we were on, we talked a lot about data centers. We talked a lot about getting rid of the income tax. What is going to come up in this next General Assembly? We've also got a potential governor's challenge. We're still hearing that U.S. senator, that the former governor doesn't like his job. Baby dog doesn't like it. And he might come back, Jim Justice, and challenge Morrissey. Have you heard anything on that front at all?
I haven't heard anything definitive on that. Governor Morrissey is in office for another 2.5 years. And it's our job as elected legislators to work with him and try to do the very best we can for our constituents. The data center issues are challenging, not only in West Virginia, but across the country. And if we're going to proceed with data centers, we know that they just have to be done in a responsible way, affordable to our taxpayers, and just listen to our constituents and try to work with them. We have a system in West Virginia where we decided that we would allow our Division of Environmental Protection to make the decisions in terms of air and noise and water and all those things. And really, that's probably the best place for those decisions to be made, because those are the very capable and trained people that have the expertise to make those kinds of decisions. But then we put an additional hurdle in place as a protection to our constituents, that the Commerce Department also would have a say in this process, and allow them to evaluate facts and make sure what's being done is in the best interest of West Virginia.
We lost Mike. Andrews, Chris Andrews, Delegate Andrews, what's interesting about this is I'm in a lot of different states, so I have these every single week in different states, and you're the only state that is pro data center. That's it. Everybody else wants to get rid of them. They want to stop them. They want to stop AI from coming. They don't want data centers in their state. People are making campaign issues out of it. Except West Virginia, you're the exact opposite. You're encouraging them to come. why have you guys figured this out and everybody else hates them?
Well, first of all, I want to go back to one thing. You keep referring to us as West Virginia. We're actually Best Virginia, so we have to focus on that. I mean, we
That's
hear
true.
about the World Cup and the Scots who came over singing Country Roads. Well, I was in Scotland recently, and they were actually singing Country Roads in Scotland at a bar at the Drovers Inn that I was at. But going to data centers, there's a lot of pushback all across the country against these. I myself have been skeptical, been a skeptic of the program just because I want to see more guardrails and more protections for the people put in. I hear from my constituents every day, and I actually have 2 coming to my district. So trust me, I hear about it day in, day out. I think they would be a wonderful thing for our state to get rid of the income tax and reduce taxes on the people. But the key with that is that they're brought in a responsible manner. And I believe it's the legislature's job to set the rules and not bureaucrats. So that's why I fought to have guardrails put on them the last session.
So as we go forward with this, Delegate Michael Haidt, I know that you're a proponent of it like I am in West Virginia. You've got the water, you got the energy, you got the gas. Nobody else wants it. Why don't you guys take it? I think it could be an economic boom. But every other state I talk to, it is a major issue in their campaigns going up to 2028 and in their primaries, and it's all negative.
Yeah, and I'm a proponent for them for all the reasons you just listed. We are either going to pay to have transmission lines into other states to feed this data center hunger, or we're going to try to bring data centers to West Virginia, where we have all the resources. We have the water, we have the electricity. And why are we paying for transmission lines to other states so that they can have the economic boom? And then we're paying for it, so it doesn't make sense to me. Ever since that they announced that we were trying to create more infrastructure with the transmission lines through West Virginia, different places. I've been saying, why are we doing that? Why don't we just get the data centers here in West Virginia? And that's been over 2 years now. And now we've done something to entice them to come to West Virginia. Should we put additional guardrails on there? I'm all for looking at that to make sure that their communities are happy with the guardrails that are there. And but we have to bring them here. This is the place for them.
So let's get to Gino. Gino, by the way, Gino Chiarelli with us, House of Delegates member in Morgantown. By the way, congratulations on your wedding, and best wishes to your new bride.
Thank you very much. We're very excited. We may have some additionally exciting news on the way, but maybe next week.
Well, it's always good to hear. It's always good to hear good news. I'll leave that for you to tell and not me to conjecture, but it's all good. But as you go forward in this debate here in Morgantown, the constituents that you represent, is there any difference in feeling with your Morgantown constituents, which represent the university? It's a little more populous area than, say, some of the others in rural areas.
Well, if you're talking about data centers specifically, what I've noticed is once you take the conversation offline, once you leave social media, leave Facebook, leave X, whatever you want to call, whatever you want to say, and then you start talking to people face to face and you start going over the realities of a lot of the data center stuff, people are surprisingly reasonable when it comes to it. Typically, the end of the conversations and like, that seems like a good idea. Let's do it correctly. And like Mike Haidt just sort of alluded to, no legislative topic is ever off the table, even if we pass a bill the past session. We can always revisit. We're always wanting to sharpen bills, make them better in the long run. Sometimes you have to get something going, get the ball rolling, and then you come back and you make adjustments later along the way. I don't think anybody here, I don't think anybody in the legislature is dead set on the fact that, hey, what we have now is perfect. But it's a starting point, and I'm looking forward to see where it goes. We're always open to having the conversations moving forward.
What's Senator Oliverio with data centers? What is the number one thing legislatively that you want to see happen that's not cemented in now, Mike?
My constituents keep talking about local control, and I don't know that there's necessarily a way to get to that, but if there was some way they could participate more in the process, I think that would make our constituents a lot happier. That seems to be one of the challenges that we're facing right now.
And so when they say local leadership, like I understand you don't know what that look like, but there's got to be a reason for that.
Yeah. So we have legislation. There are also rules that accompany the legislation. And maybe through that rulemaking process, we could do some things to allow local communities to participate a little bit more, to be better heard with respect to all the issues that they're talking about, the power issues, the water issues, the noise, the light, all those kinds of things that seem to be creating a lot of concern. And many of these concerns are coming from things they've heard from Virginia. So we want to be respectful to our constituents. At the same time, I think there's an opportunity here for West Virginia to generate some meaningful revenue that will allow us to do a lot of the things that some of the people opposing these data centers want us to do. They want us to improve public education. They want us to make clean water available in poor areas in southern West Virginia. So if we can do it right, maybe we can accomplish some of those goals too.
Well, I just moderated a congressional primary debate in Loudoun County, not that far from you guys, in Virginia about a week ago, and data centers was like the number one issue of the questions, and there was not a single. There was probably 150 people there. It was probably 150 to 0. Nobody wanted them in their backyard in Loudoun County. I don't know what the deal is, but everybody just hates them, except for one state, you guys. This is why I keep bringing this up, because I don't care if I go to Pennsylvania Posse, nobody wants them. Virginia gang, they want them out. Loudoun County, they want them out. Maryland, they want them out. Then I go to you guys, and they got Chris Miller up there in Huntington saying, hey, I can't find enough data centers to satisfy me. So I'm just trying to get the balance here.
Well, I think part of that stems from Virginia having over 600 of them already and us having less than 10. So I think that's part of that. Mm-hmm. And it's not that our constituents overwhelmingly want data centers. They're raising issues. They're concerned about local control. And it's a balancing act. We see an opportunity. In my district, we have a real center for climate information. The NOAA, the federal agency that funds climate data. We have a real opportunity there for a supercomputer and some data center computations that could make Fairmont, West Virginia, the center of the world when it comes to climate data. So I think we should pursue that. I think we should be respectful to the folks there, but I want everybody in the world getting information on climate from my little Senate district. I'm excited about that, and I want to support that effort. Recognize
I love that attitude, right? You want to bring him to Fairmont. I love that. And I can't get Joey Garcia to return my telephone call. Now I'm a constituent. Unfriggin' believable. I mean, I just be honest with you. Like, return my call, dude, right? Like, it's a phone call. It's a text. Like, John, thank you. I'm busy. See you soon. 8 seconds. Come on, man. All right. Well, that's just me. I want to get to the Freedom Caucus, Chris Sanders. Mm-hmm. You got an overwhelming Republican majority, overwhelming, right? I think I believe you're going to go 33 to 1 in the Senate. And you're not going to lose anything in the House. So that's going to be the same. I think they got 2 or 3 representatives. But why is the Freedom Caucus so small?
Well, the Freedom Caucus actually grew a good bit. If you look at the numbers in the Freedom Caucus now, there are more members of the Freedom Caucus than there are the Democratic Caucus in the state legislature. So if that says anything. And there's currently 9 Democrats in the House and 2 Democrats in the Senate, which I think you alluded to. It looks like we're going to go 31 to 1 in the Senate. Now, the House could be a lot closer because there's like my district, for example, is a purple district. With seeing the bump that Democrats are getting in many races across the country, I'm going to have to be fighting like crazy to hold on to my seat. But the use of a Freedom Caucus is to be kind of the conscious of the Republican Party. Like, okay, we're the small government people. We fight against ballooning budgets. We fight against the growth of government. And when you have a state that has 91 Republicans in the House, there's going to be a wide variety of Republicans in the House. Some were Democrats who switched to Republicans recently. Some are more your Chamber of Commerce Republicans, and some are more of your Tea Party style Freedom Caucus Republicans. So the use of the Freedom Caucus is to, continue to push for smaller government. The stuff, when I talk to voters every day, and I talk to them every single day in my district, I've already started door knocking for the election. Believe it or not, I'm already door knocking for an election in November. And what I hear is that affordability is a crisis right now. West Virginians are choosing between paying for their rent, paying for their medicines, paying for food, gas, whatever the case may be, which is part of the reason we called for the governor to suspend the fuel tax in our state, which would have saved West Virginia about 36 cents per gallon. But they're really concerned about the growth of government and budgets that just keep growing. We can't afford the government that we have. So
wait a minute, Chris. When you're knocking on doors, let's just be honest. I mean, are people really saying the government is spending too much money? I mean, is that really what they're saying in their living?
Well, what they're saying is we can't afford this. Inflation's out of control. And let's face it, inflation is a hidden tax. If you're not getting taxed in your paycheck, you're getting taxed on your grocery bill. So people are very upset about that. And the more government spends, the more inflation we have.
All right, but I think one of your issues is there's a seriousness issue, and I'm just going to open this up, right? Chris Rose is a friend of mine. He's a great guy, and he'll be on in 2 weeks after he changed. He just put his 2 weeks notice in for his other job. He's got a new job, which will allow him to come on the show. So I don't want to speak for him. But, when you guys put a bill out there to annex like half of Maryland, I mean, nobody takes it seriously. So, I mean, don't you have an issue there? Like, you got to get in with everybody else and try to get something done instead of trying to annex counties that, the governor there would never sign off on?
Well, but let me explain that for a second. When West Virginia was formed, we opened it up the counties to join us. We never closed that down. And with the insane gun grabbing, tax happy, green new pipe dream mess that Virginia is becoming at this point, we just want to say the opportunity is still there. With the Supreme Court that we currently have, if a county would vote to join West Virginia or Best Virginia, then of course it would end up at the Supreme Court. And the best shot we have right now is the Supreme Court that's currently sitting on the bench. If you look at all their Pro 2A rulings that they've come out with, is it serious? It's possibility, because I believe in the right of self-determination.
So Maryland doesn't have any say in it. Like if pick a county, right? Cumberland County votes to go into West Virginia, right? Maryland doesn't have any say in that.
They do. They can say, no, you can. And we can say, yes, you can. And then we end up before the Supreme Court.
Hyde, is that real?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I'd have to look into that even further. I think Maryland has to agree to it by a vote in their legislature. And I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, I think that's, look, we'd have to look into that. But the last time I talked to Chris about this, I think he said that the Maryland legislators is never going to agree to just give up a county. It's just not going to happen because they don't want the tax base to go away. So, it sounds fun to talk about, but I'm not sure that it's a real issue, guys. But I want to get the gas exploration, right? So we know about coal, we know about oil. What are you guys doing there with natural gas? Somebody jump in.
Well, we're going to have gas-fired power plants. We've had a few announcements over the past few months of our biggest utilities are committing to build natural gas-fired power plants. One of them in my county, in Monongalia, and one a few counties below in Harrison. And this will do a couple of things. It will create thousands of construction jobs. The plant being proposed in Montague County could have as many as 2,100 construction jobs. Take a couple years to build, right along the river. It will use natural gas from the area. So folks who have who are receiving royalties, all of a sudden their royalties will go up. So more wealth will be created in West Virginia. Permanent jobs may only be 30 to 40 jobs, but the reality is the property tax, and Gino attended a meeting with me last week on this. Property taxes look to be about $50 million on an annual basis going forward. So here we are, West Virginia floats on an ocean of natural gas called the Marcellus Shale. Below that is the Utica Shale, about 3,000 feet further down. So we're using what we have, our natural gas. We're creating jobs. We're creating wealth among our people. And we're creating tax revenue to provide services to our citizens who need it.
So how does that translate? How are the companies that are drilling 3,000 feet down, like how do they make a profitable venture? How do they get the investment to do that?
The world changed a little over 15 years ago, John. The Marcellus Shale is about 5,000 feet down. Utica is another 3,000. So it's about 8,000 feet below surface. In the old days, they used to put what you would envision straws into the ground, just a simple straw down into the ground. But a little more than 15 years ago, they began to do horizontal drilling, where you go down in the ground and then you do a long horizontal drill, and that frees up gas that you can pull out for a long distance. And that is what is creating enormous wealth in West Virginia, the horizontal drilling.
Because I know a couple guys there that are trying to get investment for drilling in natural gas, and they haven't been able to get the money they need in order to drill. What would be holding it up?
One of the things that impacts that is the price of gas, and which changes. In West Virginia, we have a severance tax. As you sever that gas from the ground, we also have a coal severance tax. So these things, they create wealth for our citizens, revenue for our state, jobs for our people. This is a good thing.
Listen, you guys should be the energy capital of the world, the data center capital of the world. Like if I was making a long-term investment in a state, like you're buying, stock, or like most of my retirement is in precious metals, silver particularly, because I think, you're going to manufacture, you need that. So that's gone well. But I would invest in West Virginia. I would invest in these gas plants because I think you guys are going to be the energy and data center capital of the world. You got the energy, got the water, you just got to get it out of there. Gino, let's get to Morgantown. West Virginia University announcing yesterday, it is what it is, that their student fee for athletics, everybody has to pay it, can't be scholarship money or loan, got to pay $125,000, no big deal, right? But then they just doubled it to $250. So if you go to West Virginia University, I don't care if you take one class, you're part-time or you're full-time, doesn't matter what you are, you take one class in 2026 fall semester, your athletics fee goes from $125 to $250, can't be covered by anything. Reaction to that?
You're muted.
Muted.
You there, Gino? All right. Well, Gino fixes his mic. Let's go to somebody else. Mike Kite, Martinsburg.
Yeah. I have a big problem with this. Especially when you start seeing the amount of money that we're paying coaches in college right now, and now we're paying athletes as well. It just seems like just to get a higher education right now, you're spending as much on the athletics as anything else. If a team can't sustain itself, or the athletics program can't sustain itself in a college, then on its own merits, then maybe it's time to do away with it and focus on academics. And so I have a big problem with this.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I met the president on a couple of different occasions, the new president, and I liked what he had to say about a lot of things. He laid out this plan. I asked about attendance in one of their briefings. Senator Oliverio was there with me, and I liked what he had to say because we've seen a decline in enrollment over the past couple of years or so since I went to school. I started there in 2013. And the former president, Gordon Gee, had this big plan about how he wanted to have like 40,000 students by 2030, and it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. So I do like the new president. I do like his vision. However, I don't know if increasing fees when you're trying to bring in more students is the correct strategy. I'm not a school administrator like that. That's not necessarily my field, but at its face, I'm not sure if I'm totally bought in. I also like what Mike Height just said. I think that the focus of academic institutions has been lost a little bit, especially once the gold mine of sports has been struck. People love their sports. We love to see our team succeed. No one's questioning that. But I think that we've lost the plot a little bit, because when you can see any of these videos, there's plenty of videos on social media about different conservative commentators going onto college campuses. These kids don't seem too bright to me. So maybe we do need a reinvestment in some of the fundamentals.
Well, let's get to Chris Sanders. Thank you for your candor.
That's why I'm here.
Let's get to Chris Sanders. So, Chris, I mean, they're doubling the fee. Doesn't feel good to me. So that's number one. But that's just me. I mean, my son now goes to Maryland, so it doesn't impact us. So I'm out of that. But $250, okay, you double it. I could see if it was like $175, maybe go up $50, but you just doubled it. But then the other thing I want to get your comment on is Gino brought up Gordon Gee, former president. He first got in there. He said the college was broke. They didn't have any money. Remember, he came in and there were like several disciplines that he eliminated before the fall semester. I think 3 seasons ago or years ago. I forget what they were, but like kids that were majoring them were just out. They had to transfer out. He cut them. He said they didn't have any money. Now they don't have as many students. Why do they have money? I mean, can somebody square that for me?
Well, I think, first of all, I agree with Mike and Gino on this. I mean, colleges are there to educate, not to entertain. And what bothers me most about this $250 fee for everyone, whether you play sports or not, is that's kind of a little bit of socialism. You have to pay for it, whether you use it or not. Okay. It's probably the wrong lesson to be teaching our students. And as far as the college itself, if you look at how much money it costs to go to college these days compared to 20 years ago, and the buildings and everything that they have on campus, it's starting to be a little bit ridiculous, the amount of money that's being poured into these colleges, when Gino made a very valid point. You listen to them being interviewed on campus, and they're not as smart as seniors were in high school a few years ago. We really need to go back and focus on education, not cut curriculums for more sports ball. Instead, let's focus on what colleges are actually there to do, and that is to educate the upcoming generation of West Virginians.
How do you guys do that legislatively?
We fund a lot of the higher education. So, if they're not doing what we want, we control the purse strings to a certain degree when it comes to higher education. So we could cut, some of the funding unless they're doing some of the things we want. And even the curriculum, I think, when Gordon Gee cut some of the curriculum a few years ago, that was the right thing to do. They need to take a look at curriculum and make sure we're teaching what needs to be taught and not just everything under the sun. And even in high schools now, we need to focus on the basics and making sure people are getting a good basic education, and not just offering everything. So
And one of the other money savers that we had was when we cut the DEI programs at the state level. Well, all of a sudden, there's another $1 million for the university. So you maybe have to get a little creative. You have to get targeted, but I think the money can be found. It's just a matter of priorities.
Mike Oliverio, how would you rate West Virginia's healthcare system as juxtaposes some of the surrounding states?
I think our healthcare system is pretty strong. Our three biggest employers in West Virginia are WVU Medicine, Vandalia Health, and Marshall Health. So these are our biggest employers, and we're providing healthcare to West Virginians, but also a lot of folks in the region around us from other states. We make an enormous commitment to Medicaid from a state portion to draw down federal dollars so we can offer health care to the indigent and those who qualify for Medicaid. We have a public employee insurance plan that is a good plan, and we've set reimbursement levels equal to Medicare, a little bit beyond Medicare levels. Always can be better. But let me say this, I think, we have a pretty good plan here. Our real challenge in delivering healthcare in West Virginia is that we don't have nearly enough people insured by private insurance companies. And that's our weakness. So we don't have enough employers buying private insurance company insurance. And as a result of it, that insurance is very expensive.
What drives that?
Well, I think the overall economy. So many of our people are older, they're on Medicare, some are disabled, they're on Medicaid. We're 50th in the country in our workforce participation rate. So as we get more people working and potentially more people under private insurance, that will improve our healthcare delivery, affordability, availability. But we do have a lot of services available under our current system, and like I say, those are our three biggest employers.
Andrews, tell us about the high school, the non-secondary school situation. Like, how do you guys rank pre-college? How does your education system rank in the United States?
Was that for me, John?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, our school system's a train wreck, and I will disagree with the good senator, and I will say that our healthcare system is a train wreck. Here in the Eastern Panhandle, most of my constituents and myself personally, we go out of the state for healthcare because we still have the government mandated monopoly called Certificate of Need, which is stifling what healthcare providers can come here. And when it comes to our school system, we rank last. It used to be Mississippi we could always count on Mississippi to maybe be below us. We need to stop tinkering around the edges. We have an appointed state school board that rules by fiat, these bureaucrats out of Charleston, and our system is failing our students. We need to take a blowtorch and a monkey wrench and completely redo the system. Just tinkering around and throwing more money at it's not the answer. What have we done? We've thrown $1 billion more at it over the past couple of years, and all they've done is increase the number of people, administrators. The money's not actually reaching the teachers and the students. We need total overhaul in the healthcare system, and we need total overhaul in the education system, and we just need to be bold and go out and do it.
So you guys, are you guys saying out of 50 states, West Virginia is ranked 50th in public education? Is that what I heard?
That's what Chris is saying. The most recent study from Harvard showed we had moved from the low 40s into the 20s. And that was because of the effort on the part of the legislature to put teacher aides in every first grade, second grade, and third grade classroom to focus on reading. So our reading scores were about 42nd. Now they're about 22nd. And we followed a model of some other states in the southern region of the country to do that. I know Chris, is referring to some historical concerns, but we are making real progress in those early grades with that reading, and that will set up success in the future. If we can spend the first 3 years teaching children such that they can learn to read, then from fourth grade on, they can read to learn. And that's, I think, the hurdle that we're coming over with some success. And like I say, some recent studies have pointed to that.
Gino, what's the discrepancy here? Andrews is saying you're 50th. Oliveri is saying you're 25th. What's the deal?
Well, it seems like that there are, historically, we have ranked pretty low. It's typically somewhere between the 50th and 45th. I think the senator is pointing out some of the recent accomplishments in specific areas that we've seen. And I think that we have a lot of positive momentum that has been brought about because of Republican leadership in the state. However, I will say, given some of my work experience prior to serving in the legislature, I used to work for Child Protective Services. I used to work as a substance abuse counselor. So I worked with a lot of families. I was very immersed in communities and the culture in a lot of areas. And there are a lot of cultural contributions to the fact that school accomplishments isn't so good. While I'm certainly not going to go out there and defend the status quo for the Department of Education, as Delegate Anders said, there are some major problems there. Relatively recently in 2022, we had an amendment on the ballot that would bring the Department of Education under rulemaking review. The voters unfortunately rejected that, and I think that would have really curbed the fourth branch of government claims that so many on the Department of Education like to say. So the bottom line is, I think that there are a number of factors that I think we need to work on at the cultural community level. However, from a structural standpoint, we have made some progress, but we have to find ways to bring the Department of Education to heel.
Delegate Anders, you want to rebut what the senator said?
Well, I haven't seen those studies. All I know is what historically has been in the past and what I've seen personally, and that is that our school system is failing. We have made changes. I think the biggest change is that we now have a school choice program called the Hope Scholarship that allows parents to use what was their tax dollars paid in property taxes to now attend whether it's private school, charter school, or homeschool. And we're seeing more and more West Virginians opting out of this failing system. Now, personally, I think the money ought to follow every child, and it doesn't matter if you go to a government school or if you go to a private school. There needs to be one pool of money because competition breeds excellence, and we have to equip our next generation of West Virginians with the education they need to succeed. And too often we run into, like Gino said, the fourth branch of government down there, the school, the appointed, that's key, the appointed state school board. They're not elected, they are appointed. That needs to change. But more and more, our school system was far better when it was controlled by the communities. If you read any textbooks from the 1850s, 1880s, they were learning things in fifth grade that we're not teaching in college today. We need to get more control to the parents and the communities and less to state bureaucrats.
Delegate,
I would agree. Any gains we've had in the past few years are in spite of our Department of Education, not because of it. That's centralized government. Department of Education is not helping West Virginia at all. If you look at the most successful states in the union right now, they are the ones that have local control. And I think we need to run that constitutional amendment again and run it as a single amendment. Last time it was with three others, and I think it got muddied because of that. We need to run it as a single amendment and get rid of the Department of Education in state of West Virginia.
Why if that was on the ballot and people could elect their education representatives like many states have, Georgia being one of them that comes to mind, why would they reject that in a referendum? I mean, why would they turn it over to somebody else?
We had four at the same time, and I think the other three, there's some controversial issues, and I think people just got confused because of the other amendments as well, and because they were confused, they just voted no on everything. And one was a push to do away with the personal property taxes on vehicles. We had the administration come out and push back against that. I think people just said no to everything because there were so many on the ballot at the same time.
Can you bring that back as a single-only amendment?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, we can. And the problem is whenever you do a ballot referendum, George Soros and all the socialists dump tons of money fighting any ballot referendum. That's why it's always difficult for a conservative ballot referendum to pass, because they'll say things like, oh, they're going to destroy your schools, or, they'll make up all types of lies, and it's funded by the radical left, and they come in and spend tons of money on these ballot referendums, and we need to actually meet them on the field of battle and fight back.
By the way, guys, that $250 fee is not per year, that's per semester. So that's $500. And if you go to summer school and take one class, it's another $250. So you could pay $750 to the university to, I don't know, give so the rich Rod can, hire another assistant coach. I don't know what it's for, but it just doesn't. I think that feels good to any of us. Guys, I got a couple of minutes. I got to get to the Greenbrier. We all been there. We all love going there. We love, hey, you go to Washington, D.C., you take the train right there. There's a stop. Everybody knows why, because, back in the day, that was where the bunker was. All the cabinet members were supposed to go there until some idiot in the Washington Post leaked it, and then they had to leave, right? So there's a train station. So everybody loves going to the Greenbrier. It's beautiful, right? You love going there, but it's run out of money. And you got Jim Justice, well, he owns it. And of course, I don't know, maybe he'll go back and run for governor. I think his motto will be, I think he's got him. If he runs for governor, I got his motto. Okay. His motto is, I'm just like you. I'm getting repoed too. That could be his motto. What is going on with the Greenbrier? Is that thing going to just go belly up or go in receivership or what?
We certainly hope not. The Greenbrier is the crown jewel of West Virginia. I think it's certainly experiencing some funding challenges. It has in the past. We're hopeful that funding can be arranged. The Omni chain is involved in the process now, and maybe some things can be done to help save the resort. A long history, really an incredible facility, 250 years old, with a great history of service to our country in time of war and even during the Cold War. So hopefully it will work out. I can't speak to Senator Justice's business dealings and things of that nature. I'm just hopeful it will work out. But more than that, if we take a final minute or two, I hope people will consider traveling to West Virginia this summer. We just kicked off the summer weekend, hiking, biking, whitewater rafting, Hatfield-McCoy's trails where you ride ATVs, all the amenities that West Virginia has to offer, and it's very affordable. You want to take your family to Disney World, you might have to sell your left arm to be able to go. I mean, we have a network of state parks across West Virginia that reach into all of our 5 border states. In D.C., you want to come over to the Eastern Panhandle where Chris and Mike are, Capon State Park's an incredible park, great golf course, all kinds of opportunities all around our state. West Virginia's a 500-mile drive from 2/3 of the nation's population, from 1/3 of Canada's population can get to West Virginia. So we have some challenges with the Greenbrier. Hopefully those can be resolved. But to your listeners around the country, come to West Virginia. Alabama and Marshall Tucker are playing July 4th weekend at the Capitol. Come enjoy West Virginia.
You guys are advertising the vacation to Panhandle right in the metro. Every day I go down to ride the metro. There's all these signs coming to Panhandle.
Yeah, Farragut North Station is a tribute to West Virginia.
That's the red line.
And Thursday, West Virginia will be set up on the mall in D.C.
I can't wait for that. That's
promoting
the
our
first one
state.
I'm going to an estate fair is West Virginia. I'm going to be covering that. We're going there. Very quickly, Greenbrier goes belly up. Would you be in favor of a West Virginia state government bailout? Yes or no? Height?
No.
Anders?
Absolutely not.
I could have predicted that. Oliveri?
I would want Gino to buy it.
I'll have to take out a loan. I'm probably not gonna go for it.
I'm for it. It's an icon. You gotta bail it out. Justice doesn't have any money. He's coming back to run for governor.
John, thanks for having us today.
He's just like you.
Private
he gets
money.
repoed too. That's my line. I love it. Guys, thanks for being with us on Mountaineer Mavericks. Michael Patrick Leahy next.
Hey, buddy. Start without me.